Primordial Desolation. I am the Dragon Ancestor. I choose for the dragon race to retreat from the very beginning. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 202. Zini Uhezu. Inside Sanqing Cave. As soon as Wukong received his name, he happily and enthusiastically bowed and thanked Patriarch Body. Then, Patriarch Body ordered everyone to lead Wukong out of the second door and teach him how to deal with the situation and how to move forward and retreat. Wukong went outside and paid homage to the fellow disciples sweeping the floor. He arranged a place to sleep in the corridor. The next morning, he and the fellow disciples learned to speak politely, lectured on scriptures, practiced calligraphy and burned incense. This was the case every day. In his spare time, he hoed the garden, cultivated flowers and trees, looked for firewood, carried water and slurry, and prepared everything for use. In this way, 6 or 7 years passed without realizing it in the cave. One day, Patriarch Body came up, sitting high on the altar. He summoned all the immortals to give lectures on the great truth. It was like flowers falling from the sky, golden lotuses sprouting from the ground, and the three vehicles teachings being wonderfully performed, all subtle and complete Dharma. The tail of the duck is slowly shaken, spraying pearls and jade, and the sound of thunder shakes the sky for 9 days. Talk about Taoism for a while, talk about Zen for a while. This is how the three schools of thought cooperate. The word enlightenment refers to sincerity and principles, and guides the mysterious nature of inanimate nature. It seems that Patriarch Body taught a lot of magic to Wukong, but in fact it was the same magic that Kong Zhuan taught the six-eared macaque. In addition to the 360 side sects of the Daisy sect, they also include the Shuzi sect's methods of inviting immortals and Fuluans, seeking good luck and avoiding evil, the Liuzi sect's 3 teachings and 9 sects reading of sutras, chanting Buddha's words, pilgrimage, and the Jingzai sect's meditation and precepts. Zai Zai, Dongzimen's methods of gathering yin and replenishing yang, climbing the bow and stepping on the crossbow, etc., are extremely complicated. Of course, the reason why Wukong is taught these spells is naturally the intention of Patriarch Body. These spells may not be enough for top experts, but they are enough to deal with ordinary Dao monks. Time passed quickly, and 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Patriarch Body not only taught Wukong the magic method of immortality and the formula to consolidate his roots, but he also spent 3 years teaching Wukong 18 martial arts, 7 Tai-2 transformations, and somersault clouds, all of which allowed him to fight and escape even though he knew that he would go out to cause trouble. Ability. When Wukong learned Taoism, Patriarch Body also received the order to receive him. Then he found an excuse to drive Wukong out of the mountain gate and told Wukong not to mention him again after he left the school, otherwise Wukong would be destroyed forever. There was nothing Wukong could do about this. He could only agree happily, and then turned around and headed back to Dongxing Shinzuhuaga Mountain. At this point, Sun Wukong can be considered a complete master of Taoism, but it will still take 1,000 years before the calamity tribulation completely begins, so the few people he leads are not in a hurry to control Sun Wukong. On the contrary, they don't even care what Sun Wukong will do in the future. Anyway, as long as he doesn't cause big trouble, Ji Yin and others will not take action. And the one thing they have to do now is to start making plans to measure the calamity in the future. Prepare early. In addition, during this period, a major event happened. That is, Kong Zhuan and Yao Ji somehow saw each other right. Both Shen Long and Hashan were a little shocked by this incident. Of course, Shen Long was just shocked and had no other thoughts. The only thing Shen Long can think about is what will happen to Yang Jian and Yang Chan brothers and sisters, and whether they will still appear without Yang Taniu. As for Hashan, after being shocked, he was overjoyed. Want to know who Kong Zhuan is? That was Shen Long's true disciple, the only first disciple. If we can be related to Kong Zhuan, can we be related to Shen Long? By then, is there hope that heaven will continue to be in his hands? Thinking of this, Hashan was heartbroken, and then began to match up Yao Ji and Kong Zhuan. In the end, Hashan directly issued an order to let Yao Ji move to Gaochen Palace, and Kong Zhuan in this regard, although I did not refuse directly. I was somewhat uneasy in my heart, no other reason, just because Kong Zhuan didn't know what Shen Long was thinking. Therefore, when Kong Zhuan gave the order from Hashan, he immediately rushed back to Longting Hall, started to inform Shen Long about the matter, and asked Shen Long for his opinion. If Shen Long disagrees with the fact that he and Yao Ji are together, then they should separate as soon as possible. This will be best for everyone. Otherwise, it will be very troublesome if we break up after we have feelings in the end. In the Longting Hall, Humphrey. Hashan really has such a big plan, he dares to blame his nephew. How arrogant. Yes, Longzhu. Hashan's calculations are too loud. We really have to teach him a lesson. I really thought that a little Yao Ji could deceive fellow Taoist Kong Zhuan. How naive. Okay, third and fourth brothers. Since Taoist friend Kong Zhuan and Yao Ji are in love, it's not a bad idea to become a Taoist couple, so don't talk nonsense. Yes, what the second brother said is reasonable. We still have to see what fellow Taoist Kong Zhuan thinks about this matter. As Zilong snorted coldly, the four Dragon Kings agreed one after another, but they also had different voices. At least two Dragon Kings supported Kong Zhuan, which made the atmosphere at the scene awkward. Soon, Kong Zhuan returned, and he also knew everyone knew about him and Yao Ji. After glancing at Zilong and others, Kong Zhuan slightly cupped his hands, then turned around and saluted Shen Long on the high platform, and said respectfully, "Greetings, Master." Okay, they are all saints, so there is no need to be polite. Shen Long nodded. After all, Kong Zhuan is a saint. There is no need to do such things as kneeling down in the future. There are some things that he doesn't pay so much attention to. Besides, Shen Long knows who Kong Zhuan is. Even if he is Kong Zhuan was not polite, and Shen Long also knew that Kong Zhuan respected him very much. "Thank you, Master." Kong Zhuan responded, then stood up. Before Kong Zhuan could say anything, Zilong said first, "Nephew, I wonder what's going on between you and Yao Ji. Are you really attracted to Yao Ji, or is there some conspiracy by Haotang that failed?" Logically speaking, a saint should not be so enthusiastic about this kind of thing even if he doesn't talk about cutting off the 7 emotions and 6 desires. But now Kong Zhuan suddenly wants Yao Ji to be his Taoist companion. How could Zilong not be surprised? Faced with Zilong's confused, Kong Zhuan replied, "This matter is not that complicated. It's just that I have a certain fondness for Yao Ji, and the rest are just rumors spread by Hashan. I was also afraid that Master would misunderstand, so I hurriedly came back to explain. One time, rumors are just rumors after all. How could there not be a trace of moisture in them? Yao Ji does like Kong Zhuan, but Kong Zhuan may not be particularly interested in Yao Ji. To be honest, at best, he has a slight affection. Who knows?" After Hashan learned about this, he began to exaggerate the propaganda, which made Kong Zhuan speechless. But after all, with Yao Ji around, Kong Zhuan couldn't directly ask Hashan to accuse him. He could only pretend not to know anything. He won't refute if he doesn't respond. Hearing Kong Zhuan's answer, Zilong breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that things are not like the rumors. But at this moment, Shen Long suddenly stood up, said, "Don't worry. There is no need to explain anything. I just want to ask you one thing right now. If you and Yao Ji are allowed to become Taoist couples, will you complain?" Brother, what do you mean?" Zilong was confused at first, and then froze on the spot. Shen Long thought that the rumors were not true enough, and planned to make a big incident directly. Aren't they going to attack the heavenly court? If Kong Zhuan and Yao Ji really get married couple, how can they attack the heavenly court? But looking at Shen Long, he seems to be confident, as if he has some plan. This makes Zilong, the monk Zinger, confused for a while, and he doesn't know how to dissuade him. After all, the words are what Shen Long said is golden and he usually won't take it back. The person involved was Kong Zhuan, so he couldn't refute it. He could only shut up and wait for Kong Zhuan's attitude. Of course, Zhuan's reaction at this time was compared to Zilong was not much better. and Kong Zhuan did not expect that Shen Long would ask him so directly, which made him hesitate for a while. Whether he should become a Taoist companion with Yao Ji became what Kong Zhuan wanted at the moment. The most difficult multiple choice question you've ever faced. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 203. After thinking for a long time, Kong Zhuan still didn't know what to choose. In the end, Kong Zhuan could only look at Shen Long, hoping that Shen Long could help him make the decision. Seemingly sensing Kong Zhuan's embarrassment, Shen Long continued, "You don't have to worry. After all, you are my disciple. Being a Taoist couple with Yao Ji will only take advantage of them. In my opinion, this matter it's doable." As for why Shen Long urged Kong Zhuan and Yao Ji so hard, Shen Long deduced that the two were indeed destined to do so. I don't know if it was because Kong Zhuan saved Yao Ji or what happened, but from that moment on, the two were entangled in cause and effect. Because of this, Shen Long suddenly changed his temper and wanted to match the two. After getting Shen Long's answer, Kong Zhuan thought about it for a moment, but he didn't refuse. He does have a good impression of Yao Ji. Secondly, Yao Ji is pretty good. Both her appearance and personality have been tempered by time and have become very good. Even if she becomes a Taoist couple with Kong Zhuan, someone who will not disgrace Kong Zhuan. Therefore, Shen Long directly sent Prime Minister Gui to find Hashan in heaven and tell him about it. Knowing the decree conveyed by Prime Minister Gui made Hashan so happy. Being able to marry Shen Long was a great opportunity. Then, Hashan began to make preparations. After all, Yao Ji was his sister, so this matter could not be taken lightly. It had to be done with great fanfare. In addition, Hashan had to think of a way to give him a big gift. Otherwise, if he didn't have any dowry items, wouldn't he be ridiculed for Hashan's incompetence? After thinking about it, Hashan finally left his top quality innate spiritual treasure, the Hashan mirror, to Yao Ji. He really didn't have any valuables in his hands, so he gave it to Yao Ji because he only had a few innate spiritual treasures that were pretty good. It's time to make a dowry gift. On this side, Hashan is actively preparing for the wedding, but on the other side, Sun Wukong is not calm either. After Sun Wukong learned martial arts on his own and returned to the mountains, he defeated the Demon King who occupied the Huago Mountain and obtained a big sword. He also came to the country from Mao and used his magic power to obtain a large number of weapons and distributed them to the monkeys, but none of the weapons was easy to use. In order to find a suitable weapon, Sun Wukong went to the pool at the foot of Huago Mountain and found the magic weapon that Jian personally trained with 9-turn iron. This magical weapon is an acquired spiritual treasure of the highest quality. It can be freely changed in thickness and length according to the owner's wishes. When in the pool, it is as thick as a bucket and more than 2 feet long. Later, Sun Wukong adjusted it to the length of 2 feet and the thickness of the mouth of the bowl that best suited him. Usually, it was changed to the size of an embroidery needle and hidden in his ear. In addition, the two ends of the object are hooped by 2 gold pieces, and in the middle is a section of black iron decorated with stars. Next to the hoop is a line of words, Ruai Golden Hoop, weighing 13,500 kilograms, and with dense patterns and dragon and phoenix seals. It sounds like a good treasure. After getting the Ruai Golden Cudgel, Sun Wukong also received the purple gold crown with phoenix wings, the golden armor with chain locks, and the lotus root silk walking cloud shoes from the 10-lord river god. The river god had a grudge against this and reported to heaven, demanding the arrest of Sun Wukong. At this time, Sun Wukong was prosperous and making friends. He worshipped the Bull Demon King, the Zhao Demon King, the Pang Demon King, the Lion and Camel King, the Macaque King and the Tamarin King, and became his sworn brother. The 7 brothers were in the limelight for a while. Dragon Clan, in the Dragon Court Hall. Ding! Congratulations to the host for participating in all the main plots of Guji and Chitan and gaining the 10,000 realm value of 500 billion. Ding! Congratulations to the host for participating in all the main storylines of Xuaniu and Sword, Traces of the Sky and gaining the 10,000 realm value of 800 billion. Ding! Congratulations to the host for participating in all 3 main storylines of The Legend of Sword and Fairy and gaining 950 billion and 10,000 realms value. Ding! Congratulations to the host for participating in the complete plot of The Legend of Two Dragons of the Tang Dynasty and gaining 600 billion worth of 10,000 realms. Ding! It has been detected that the host has experienced more than 10 complete story worlds, achieved the achievement, and the reward has been increased tenfold. Please check the host. A series of system prompts sounded again. After such a long time, many plots have been completed, which made Shen Long very happy. In addition, the rewards have increased tenfold, and with so many innate spiritual stones, it seems that upgrading subsystems will be no problem. Ding! Would you like the host to consume trillions of spiritual stones to increase the one-click treasure stealing space to level 5? Yes. Ding! Promotion successful. Ding! Would you like to ask the host if he will consume millions of spiritual stones to increase the one-click treasure stealing space to level 6? Yes. Ding! Promotion successful. Ding! Would you like the host to consume hundreds of millions of spiritual stones to increase the one-click formation space to level 6? Yes. Ding! Promotion successful. Ding! Would you like the host to consume hundreds of billions of spiritual stones to increase the one-click formation space to level 7? Yes. Ding! Promotion successful. Ding! May I ask the host whether to consume upgrade the one-click formation space to level 10? Yes. Ding! Promotion successful. One-click treasure stealing space can continuously steal heaven and earth spiritual treasures for Shen Long. It seems to be of little use, but in fact it is very useful, and one-click formation space can maximize Shen Long's formation level. At least now, Shen Long can reach the point where he can prove the Tao through formation, the ultimate formation talent at the saint level. Even Tongshan, who has the strongest formation, cannot compare with Shen Long. This is because Shen Long has not fully used the formation. Under the condition of magical ability, if it is fully displayed, the sky is equivalent to an egg. Shen Long can break it with a touch. From this, we can also see the horror of the one-click formation space. Counting the time, Shen Long will soon be long. Also remembered that he had to go to the place where he had made an appointment, just in time. He would be able to attend Kong Zhuan's wedding when he came back, and he would be able to make it in time. Therefore, Shen Long left the prehistoric world in one thought, and when he appeared again, it is already the Jiajia building in the world of rigid appointments. Sorry, have you heard? Tomorrow is the day of the night parade of 100 ghosts. Let's escape quickly. What about 100 ghosts walking at night? Uncle Gong, you are so old. Why do you still listen to rumors? No, you don't know. I heard that Aping's mother next door is gone. Be careful. It's haunted. Don't tease Uncle Gong. I saw Ping's mother buying groceries last week. How could she not? That is, Aping is such a nice person and so filial, so his mother will definitely be fine. Don't worry. Hey, I don't care about you. I always feel that something will go wrong anyway, so I'd better leave here and live for a while. After saying that, Uncle Gong ignored everyone, picked up the package and left Jiajia building, which made everyone feel very confused for a moment. And at this moment, a white light flashed, and Shen Long's figure appeared in Jiajia building. In the building, counting the days, Shen Long couldn't help but frown slightly. He didn't expect that he had been away for so long. Originally, Shen Long thought that the time flow rate in the prehistoric world and the rigid contract world were different, so he would only leave for a month. But after calculation, it's been nearly half a year, thanks to the fact that he paid a year's rent when renting a house. Otherwise Shen Long really doesn't know how to explain it to Ma Ziling and the others. God bless you. Just wait, I will give you something to resurrect, Wang Zenzhen shouted, and the voice quickly reached Shen Long's ears. Because Fu Sheng was Wang Zenzhen's student, Wang Zenzhen took care of him a lot, and because Fu Sheng was relatively withdrawn, this gave Wang Zenzhen some headaches. Of course, the most important thing is that the aura emanating from Wang Zenzhen was so terrifying that neither Kuang Taniu nor Kuang Fusheng dared to get too close to Wang Zenzhen. When he turned his head and saw Wang Zenzhen and others approaching, before Shen Long could speak, the woman screamed, "Shen Long, Shen Long? But Ma Ziling and Wang Zhenzhen shouted at the same time, and then walked quickly toward Shen Long's direction. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 204. Shen Long has been missing for half a year now. The whole person came and went without a trace, and they were constantly searching for Shen Long's whereabouts. But alas, nothing was found, especially Ma Ziling. He had used many extraordinary methods, but still could not find any trace of Shen Long, which made her even more surprised. Now that Shen Long suddenly appeared, how could they not be shocked? The two people quickly approached Shen Long and kept asking Shen Long various questions. Of course, the most important thing is where Shen Long went and why he suddenly left without saying goodbye. In response to their inquiries, Shen Long just smiled and found two excuses to fend them off. Seeing that Shen Long was unwilling to mention it further, they did not continue to ask. There was just one thing that Ma Ziling wanted to tell Shen Long. Half of the stone he gave to Wang Zhenzhen was taken away by her. It wasn't that Ma Ziling did it intentionally, but that the stone contained too much spiritual energy, and it might not be of any benefit to her if it was absorbed by Wang Zhenzhen. Therefore, with Wang Zhenzhen's consent, Ma Ziling tried her best to divide the stone, for two, take half. It is because of this half stone that Ma Ziling's strength has greatly increased. Speaking of which, she only absorbed spiritual energy for half a year, but it is almost as good as her 10 years of hard training. After hearing what Ma Ziling said, Shen Long just nodded without commenting. Anyway, he gave away the things. How to arrange them was Wang Zhenzhen's business. Even if she just threw them away, Shen Long wouldn't care, let alone ask. After Ma Ziling and Wang Zhenzhen finished speaking, Kuang Danyu also walked up and felt the aura emanating from Kuang Danyu himself, which made Shen Long's eyes narrow. As we all know, everyone has 3 souls and 7 souls. After death, the soul disperses and no longer possesses the body. The soul may go to the underworld to wait for reincarnation, or it may wander around due to obsession and become a lonely ghost, suffering the pain of lonely hell. If a person is unwilling to die and has resentment in his heart, the 7 souls will not be dispersed. The 7 souls are the 7 emotions and 6 desires of the human being, and they will stay in the physical body. If they do not want to leave, they will turn into zombies. Zombies are born from the resentment and filth of heaven and earth. They are immortal, and immortal. They are abandoned by the 3 realms of heaven, earth, and underworld and outside the 6 realms of living beings. They are wandering and homeless. They use resentment as their power, feed on blood, and vent their anger with the blood of living beings. Endless loneliness. It is not controlled within the 6 realms and has endless years. But really speaking, zombies are not completely immortal, but are divided into soulless zombies and soulless zombies. Soulful zombie, a blood-sucking zombie. After being bitten, the soul is forced to stay in the body. The mind will be invaded by corpse poison, and it will lose control and go crazy, looking for blood. Soulless zombies. They hold grudges after death and use feng shui to turn them into shadow corpses. After death, they turn into zombie-like corpses. When the soul leaves and the soul is attached to the body, the underworld cannot accept the alien beings that are neither humans nor ghosts. The soul is the 7 emotions and 6 desires born from the soul. Soulless zombies have no intelligence, that is soul and wisdom, and cannot think. They only rely on instinct to act and suck blood for revenge. Of course, these are only the lowest level. The higher the level, the stronger the natural strength and the higher the wisdom. As for Kuang Danyu, he is an exception. Zombies of 5 generations or above, including the 5th generation, have eternal life and eternal youth, but each level is created by the previous level, and the difference between each level is huge. Except for 1st generation zombies, mutant 1st generation zombies and purple-eyed zombies, All other zombies must live on blood. Eating other things will cause nausea or stomachache. Therefore, the grading of zombies is very strict. If you want to level up, you must absorb a certain amount of human blood and practice for a certain number of years before you can level up. The power of zombies comes from love, so there is no way to take advantage of opportunities in the world of zombies. As for Qilin, although he is a second-generation zombie, he has never sucked human blood or practiced cultivation, so his strength has directly dropped to the level of a fourth-generation zombie, which is really sad to say. Even if Qilin couldn't get over the hurdle in his heart, wouldn't he be able to suck the blood of bad people instead of sucking the blood of good people? Back then, he was the captain of the team that fought against the Japanese. It was obviously a special period, so why couldn't he rely on his own strength to help the villagers eliminate those Japanese? On the contrary, Qilin actually escaped because he turned into a zombie. This escape lasted for 60 years, which is really frustrating to say. Looking at Yamamoto Kazuo, he not only helped the Japanese army massacre countless Chinese people, but also lived a comfortable life. For 60 years, he was much more glorious than Qilin. Now seeing Qilin's miserable hiding state, even Shen Long couldn't help but sigh. Sure enough, the protagonist is always the most useless. Of course, Shen Long cannot be so absolute. After all, in the zombie world, every zombie has different superpowers. The superpowers will continue to change and become stronger with the level, such as super speed, thoughts, dreams, etc. There are even some unknown superpowers can be stimulated. It seems that Qilin is in trouble now. What if he suddenly breaks out and becomes more powerful? This is also possible. After all, reality is not a TV show, and accidents might happen. Okay, stop standing around, come in quickly. Wang Zhenzhen shouted suddenly, and without waiting for Shen Long's reply, she pulled Shen Long into the elevator first. Seeing this, Ma Ziling and Qilin were both a little dissatisfied. This was the first time that they saw Wang Zhenzhen being so attached to a man, especially a strange man who is full of mystery. Qilin already had a crush on Wang Zhenzhen. Now seeing this scene, Qilin stepped forward directly and followed him into the elevator. He knew that Shen Long was quite mysterious, but no matter how mysterious he was, in his opinion, the fox will eventually show its tail. Tangshanbao Pavilion. Boss, that man appeared. Someone saw him in Jiajia building. What, didn't you say that you disappeared for half a year, and then you appeared so quickly? Could the information be wrong? Absolutely not. Our people have seen it with their own eyes, so there is no mistake. Very good. I was able to injure Ake, and it took Ake half a year to recover from his injury. I really want to see what he is capable of. Boss, do you want to find him personally? Of course not. Isn't the Zengostone spirit going to be shipped to us soon? I have a better idea. Having said this, a meaningful smile appeared on the corner of Yamamoto Kazuo's mouth, as if he had already begun to plan something. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 205. Let's talk about Jiajia building. Because Shen Long suddenly returned, Ouyang Jiajia was also very happy. She also seemed to realize that Shen Long was not an ordinary person. Otherwise why would he give Wang Zhenzhen such an expensive gift? As long as you are not a fool, you will know that Wang Zhenzhen's increasing difference has a lot to do with the spiritual stone. Now that he suddenly saw Shen Long, Ouyang Jiajia made up his mind to keep him. Of course, the main purpose is because Wang Zhenzhen doesn't have a boyfriend for the time being, and Shen Long is simply the most suitable candidate. Ouyang Jiajia was very satisfied with her appearance, character and even her conversation. If they could really bring the two of them together, it would be a good choice. While eating at Ouyang Jiajia's house, looking at the entire dinner table, only two people did not use their chopsticks. One was Qilin and the other was Qilin Fusheng. The two of them seemed to have eaten shit. They felt very sad every time they moved their chopsticks. Shen Long knew this too. Because of their own special characteristics, they cannot be as taboo as the first generation of zombies. For the time being, they can only survive by drinking blood. Once they eat other things, they will have diarrhea. This condition is harsh enough. God bless. Isn't the food cooked by ant delicious? Why don't you move your chopsticks? Ouyang Jiajia saw that Kuang Taniu was very strange and couldn't help but asked curiously. In response, Kuang Taniu just shook his head and did not explain anything. But at this moment, Shen Long didn't know what he smelled and suddenly said, "Interesting, I didn't expect there to be half human and half corpse." Shen Long, what did you say? Wang Zenzhen was surprised and asked, "Half man, half corpse?" Could it be her? Both Ma Ziling and Kuang Taniu heard what Shen Long said, so they naturally knew what Shen Long was talking about. In the whole building, Ping's mother is the only one who has been particularly strange recently. But because Ping never lets anyone enter his room, no one saw Ping Ma, so there were rumors that Ping Ma was dead. In addition, there have been many murders recently, which made the two of them think of Ping Ma instantly. Shen Long, what do you know? Kuang Taniu asked Shen Long directly. After all, he is a policeman and he definitely hopes to solve the murder case. But unfortunately, Shen Long did not answer his question, but kept talking to himself. The plot will be destroyed without starting. Wouldn't that be boring? The most important thing is that tomorrow is the three-breaking day, when hundreds of ghosts walk at night, and monsters are reborn. If Awakens commits suicide tomorrow, maybe Shen Long can take the opportunity to make a lot of money. How could it be cost-effective? How could Shen Long ruin the plot in advance? Seeing that Shen Long was unwilling to say more, Kuang Taniu had no choice but to give up. He thought to himself that he would find a way to go to Awakens' house in the evening to find out the truth. It's a quick meal. After eating, Shen Long also returned to his residence. However, when Shen Long returned, Ma Ziling followed him into Shen Long's room. Staring at Shen Long closely, Ma Ziling asked slowly, "Tell me, who are you? Why can't I find your origin from the Tongshenru? It seems that you appeared out of thin air. Is it possible that you are not from this world?" Ma Ziling really spent a lot of effort to find Shen Long, but found nothing. Finally, she asked her aunt, and finally got some clues. Of course, the result was not optimistic. That is, Shen Long didn't seem to be a person in this world. People. After learning about this, Ma Ziling was shocked, but she couldn't believe it. Facing Ma Ziling's question, Shen Long shrugged and replied, "Yes, if you say it, I should be a god." "What? Immortal? Are you kidding me?" Ma Ziling almost choked on her saliva. Her eyes widened, and she looked at Shen Long. With a calm smile, Shen Long said, "Do you think I'm a joke? Of course, saying that I am a god also lowers my status a bit. It is estimated that the Tathagata in this world will kneel down and kowtow when he sees me. Oh, by the way, there are also the generals that your Ma family is chasing after, although I have never seen him, but I have seen a drought demon." "What? Hanba, one of the four ancestors of zombies?" "Yes, she is the emperor's daughter, but she is not qualified to see me. I just glanced at her. She is a junior among juniors, so I won't comment too much." Shen Long told some huge secrets very calmly, which almost made Ma Ziling faint from fright. After a long time, Ma Ziling asked, "Then do you know Pingyu and Nuwa?" "Pingyu has been killed a long time ago. Nuwa is my Taoist companion." "Do you think I know her?" "How many years have you lived? Billions? Or tens of millions? Or hundreds of millions?" "I don't remember. It's been too long." Shen Long thought about it for a while, but still didn't think of it, so he stopped thinking about it. In this regard, Ma Ziling just looked at Shen Long as if he were an idiot. If Ma Ziling believed it at first, but later she became suspicious and contemptuous. Also, Pingyu was killed, and Nuwa was a Taoist companion of Shen Long. Isn't this nonsense? Unless you are a fool, no one would believe this. Knowing that she could no longer talk to Shen Long, Ma Ziling snorted and said, "If you don't want to say it, then you don't want to say it. Why would you want to lie to others? It's really too much." After saying that, Ma Ziling opened the door and left. Shen Long was the only one with a smile on his face again. He said it, but Ma Ziling didn't believe it, so there was nothing he could do. But it's not important. He just came to the world of friendship, obtaining the 10,000 realms value. As long as there are enough 10,000 realms values, Shen Long will return to the prehistoric world. After all, there is Kong Zhuan's wedding to attend. In addition, Shen Long still has many plans that have not been implemented. After returning, he will have to. It will only work once it is implemented. The next day, the third day, downstairs of Jiajia building. Zongzong, this time it all depends on you. I hope you can help Xuan Wu boy keep our Jiajia building safe. Yes, Zhangzong, we have collected enough 100,000 yuan for you. You can't live up to our expectations. Zongzong, you are the hope of all of us. If everyone can really make money and go out safely this time, we will not treat you badly. Don't worry, everyone. Xuan Wu boy already knows what you want, and he will also help you realize your demands. Everyone, step back. I'm going to start doing it. I don't know who is wrong, but everyone in Jiajia building actually chose to let Kim Zhongzong open the altar on the third day. You must know that the most taboo practice on the third day is to burn paper for the dead. Once it is successful, the world will naturally be destroyed. Attract countless evil spirits from the world, and bless them with abundant wealth and safe coming and going. Don't be ridiculous. Whether they can survive is a big problem. As Jin Zhangzong did this, in an instant, fireballs rose into the sky one by one. Don't say it. Jin Zhangzong was very good at this kind of deception, and he frightened everyone in the Jiajia building with just a few tricks. But also because of Jin Zhangzong's method of opening the altar, he burned paper money, and the moment the gate of the underworld opened, the world between heaven and earth, the situation changed, and endless evil spirits began to gather on the Jiajia building. Buzz. The void shook, spiritual pressure descended, the door to the underworld opened, and those evil spirits began to appear. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 206. Kim Zhangzong, what are you doing? Today is the third breaking day, and you still dare to stand up and practice magic. Once those evil ghosts show up and become full of resentment, it will be over. As Jin Zhangzong opened the altar, Ma Ziling and others hurried over. Seeing the door of the underworld wide open, Shen Long frowned slightly, and the book of life and death in his body felt a sensation, as if he wanted to swallow up the world here, the original power of the mansion. But for the time being, Shen Long cannot let the book of life and death swallow him up. He can only suppress it temporarily. Ziling, what are you talking about? What is Sanpori? Sanpo Day is an extremely yin day that occurs once every 60 years. On this day, resentment is soaring. Those evil ghosts and evil spirits cannot be reincarnated, cannot be worshipped by their relatives, and their grievances cannot be alleviated. It's time to return to the earth and vent your grievances. This day is often the night when hundreds of ghosts walk at night and ghosts are reborn. Therefore, in the past, the adults in the family would never let their children go out on this day, and everyone would keep a close eye on this day. Doors, windows, and lights are all open, waiting for dawn. If you are a Taoist, stick talismans and scriptures on the doors and windows, and be careful not to burn paper money, and you will not be able to open the altar for transcendence. As soon as Zhuang Jiajia asked, Shen Long's voice came out. Anyway, it's like this now. Even if you tell them, it doesn't matter. Now that hundreds of ghosts are walking at night and monsters are reborn, it's useless to stop them. Hey, don't worry. As long as my Xuan Wu boy is here, all monsters and ghosts will be able to escape, so you don't have to be afraid, especially Miss Ma. Seeing Ma Ziling's angry look, Jin Zhangzong snorted softly, patted his chest and promised, knowing that he couldn't explain the magic stick of Jin Zhangzong. Ma Ziling could only wave his hand, and countless cow tears immediately flew out of his hand. As long as it was contaminated, you can see ghosts through cow's tears. When these people see the scene of the night parade of 100 ghosts and the rebirth of monsters, they will probably understand what's going on. No, Zenzan is in danger. Ma Ziling suddenly remembered something and shouted. After hearing Ma Ziling's words, Kuang Taniu was the first to run up to Jiajia building. After all, he is the descendant of a general. Needless to say, Kuang Taniu's ability, especially in terms of speed, is beyond ordinary people. 1,000 times more. Even Ma Xialing couldn't see Kuang Danyu's speed clearly, only Shen Long could see Kuang Danyu's movements. Of course, Kuang Danyu was only targeting ordinary people. As Shen Long, there were more, not to mention, a thought can appear all over the world. Naturally, Kuang Danyu cannot be compared with Shen Long. At this time, Kuang Danyu went to save Wang Zenzan, while on the other hand, Shen Long and Ma Xialing began to capture these evil spirits. Although Shen Long was not, no matter how hard he tried, he caught thousands of evil spirits and trapped them in a car. Shen Long naturally had his own purpose in doing this. If he didn't trap them in the car, but killed them directly, if you don't protect aping, you won't become an evil Shura. Shen Long still needs to rely on aping to obtain a large amount of Wanji value and then leave. And he will definitely not let this possible failure happen. And Ma Xialing saw Shen Long acting like this. Although he was quick and agile, he was startled, but he still trapped the evil ghosts in the car. Time passed slowly, and in the blink of an eye, millions of evil ghosts were trapped in the car. That is, the evil spirits were trapped in the car. Ghosts are spirits, otherwise, such a small car would have burst. Buzz, a sonic boom suddenly sounded. But it was Aping who was punched away by Kuang Danyu. Because he could not believe the fact that his mother was dead, Aping jumped off the roof of Jiajia building with resentment. Boom! Aping's body hit the car hard, and immediately, countless evil ghosts were sucked into Aping's body. In the blink of an eye, the evil ghosts disappeared, but it was Aping who was full of resentment, and his entire body was surrounded by a green light. Just wait. I will definitely kill you to avenge my mother. I will come back on the night of the soul resurrection. I will come back. Because of the resentment in his heart, everyone present was hated by Luo. After the words fell, Luo's head fell heavily, but his eyes were still wide open, with a look of death. Well, something is probably going to happen. Shen Long nodded, his face still looked as indifferent as before. Go ahead, stop joking. Ma Xialing rolled her eyes at Shen Long. Although she felt uneasy in her heart, she didn't take it seriously. Of course, the main reason was that Ma Xialing didn't know that Luo would turn into an evil Shura. After saying that, Ma Xialing pulled Wang Jia returned to the building, and the remaining people knew that Jin Zhengzong was a liar, and they all planned to ask Jin Zhengzong to refund their money. Inside Wang Jiajia's house. Zenzan, are you okay? Yes, Zenzan. Ping Ma didn't hurt you, right? Who would have thought that Ping's mother would turn out to be half human and half corpse? Shen Long really guessed it right. Shen Long, I'm so scared. While everyone was discussing, Wang Zenzan suddenly jumped into Shen Long's arms, which surprised everyone present. Wang Zenzan had been clean for many years and had never had a boyfriend, let alone been so close to someone. Now Wang Zenzan suddenly got into Shen Long's arms. Zong. What does this mean? Or is she interested in Shen Long? Ahem, Zenzan, pay attention to the occasion. Wang Jiajia coughed lightly. Although she is more open-minded, she is an elder after all. It is not good to do this in front of her, right? He said something to Wang Zenzan. After Wang Zenzan shyly walked away from Shen Long, Wang Jiajia then asked again, Xialing, what did Aping say before he died? This is it. People will take their last breath before dying. This breath is nothing at first, but this time it is a bit troublesome. The breath Luo took after his death was not ordinary breath at all, but the resentment of countless lonely souls and ghosts. 3 breaks. The resentment is so high that it is extremely rare for someone to die on this day. Now that Luo has left his last words, I am afraid that he will really come back to seek revenge on us on the night of soul resurrection. Ma Xialing replied before Wang Jiajia finished asking. Hearing this, Wang Jiajia was very scared, but she didn't know what to do. Hey, Shen Long, you are so powerful, what do you think about this matter? Suddenly, Ma Xialing thought of the mysterious Shen Long. She really wanted to hear Shen Long's opinion on this matter. Looking at Ma Xialing differently, Shen Long said bluntly, the situation this time is a bit complicated. I guess that Luo he will turn into an evil Shura. You guys want to deal with him. It's hard. What? Is this serious? Naturally, it is said that if a person dies unexpectedly on the Sanpo day, because that day is a very unlucky day and the anger of injustice is high. The last breath taken by the deceased before death will contain a lot of anger from the ghosts and resentful spirits of the deceased. After Hun Yi takes revenge, he will be rejected by the underworld because of his excessive resentment, and will lose the chance of reincarnation forever. At this time, the souls of the deceased who have no way to go to heaven and no way to enter the earth can only wander around in the human world. Over time, the violent energy that was temporarily dispersed because of the revenge will gather again, and they will slowly turn into hungry Shura, harming all living beings. So you said how difficult Luo Hu would be to deal with. So can you deal with him, Abel? Shen Long nodded, a smile appeared on his face. But soon, Shen Long continued, but why should I help you? Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 207. As the saying goes, don't start early without profit. Shen Long's biggest purpose in coming to the world of deadlock is just to obtain the value of 10,000 realms. If you don't give him any benefits, why should you ask him to help deal with Luo Hu? Even if Luo Hu is no different from an ant in Shen Long's eyes, there is no need for Shen Long to take action. Seeing Shen Long's attitude, this made Ma Ziling, Kuang Taniu and others very angry. They originally thought that they were already friends with Shen Long and that Shen Long would help them, but now it seems that Shen Long is too cold-blooded. Even Wang Zenzhen was at a loss for a moment. She wanted to beg Shen Long for help, but she didn't know how to ask. In the end, Ma Ziling asked bluntly, then tell me, what do you want? Bloodline. What? Bloodline? Whose bloodline? I want both yours and Kuang Taniu's. Speaking of this, a meaningful light flashed in Shen Long's eyes. I don't know what he was thinking. In the world of stalemate, in order to fight against fate, the Panu clan created a life that was not governed by the 3 realms and 6 paths. Body. Zombies. Zombies are a species that were transformed into humans after being bitten by Panu tribesmen such as generals and receiving their blood and power. Because the mortal bodies created by Nuwa cannot withstand Panu's power, they will mutate and become zombies. Zombies have eternal lifespan, but can be killed or starved to death, and are not subject to any laws in the 3 realms such as Tanxiao, except for first-generation zombies, pseudo-first-generation zombies and purple-eyed zombies. Zombies must feed on the blood of living people. Sucking blood will also increase the strength of the zombies. If you keep sucking expired blood from the hospital or animal blood, you will not be able to show your true strength. If you don't suck blood for a long time, you will drop the level and eventually starve to death. Zombie eyes are the symbol of zombies, and the level is identified by color. Different colors represent different levels. Since the Panu bloodline will be diluted every generation, the subsequent zombie bloodlines will become increasingly impure. Each generation of zombies is not as good as the previous generation. The higher the generation, the weaker the ability. Some are even afraid of light, garlic, crosses and other objects. There are a total of 8 zombie eye colors in the zombie trilogy, representing different generations or types of zombies. They are: red eyes of the first generation, silver eyes of the fake first generation, green eyes of the second generation, yellow eyes of the third generation, blue eyes of the 4th generation, and white eyes of the 5th generation. The 6th generation means those below the 6th generation have black eyes, and there are also special mutant purple eyes. Purple-eyed zombies are zombies that can only be turned into by people with the blood of destiny. Other types of zombies only have Panu blood. However, purple-eyed zombies have both Panu blood and destiny blood. This is the blood relationship between purple-eyed zombies and other zombies. The difference in appearance makes purple-eyed zombies the most special zombies. If Shen Long can obtain the blood power of Ma Ziling and Kuang Taniu, he can fuse the purple-eyed zombies. It seems like nothing, but if it can be brought back to the ancient world, it might be of great use. However, once the power of their blood is extracted, the plot of the world of stalemate may be about to end. Doing so seems to be killing the goose that lays the egg, which makes Shen Long feel a little embarrassed. Hearing what Shen Long said, Ma Ziling couldn't help but be stunned. What did Shen Long mean? The power of her and Kuang Tanyu's bloodline, is there anything special about it? But when she saw Shen Long's hesitant expression, Ma Ziling said, forget it. It's better to ask for help than to ask for help from others. It's up to me to find a way. After saying that, Ma Ziling left. Likewise, everyone looked at each other one after another and then walked away. Ling Ling Tang Cleaning Company. Peter, you finally showed up. This time I'm in big trouble and I want your help. I wonder if you have time. Help? Stop kidding me. How can I help you? I really need your help. Do you know about Evil Shura? What? Evil Shura? When he heard Ma Ziling say these three words, Pete's expression changed, and then asked hurriedly, Ziling, please tell me clearly, where did you hear the three words Evil Shura? Seeing that Peter seemed to understand the Evil Shura, Ma Ziling told Peter everything about Luo Hu. After hearing this, Peter nodded slightly, but he deeply agreed with what Shen Long said. There were even some things that Shen Long said. Long knew more details and knew much more than he did. Hey, to tell you the truth Ziling, I once asked several Yanfang masters about the problem of Hungry Shura. They looked through ancient books and finally found some information about Hungry Shura. It is said that Hungry Shura only appeared 3 times in history. Among these 3 times, the most powerful one was during World War I. Hungry Shura killed many people. In a D-country military camp at that time, more than 1,000 officers were killed because of Hungry Shura. He was killed miserably. And there was only one way to deal with Hungry Shura. What is it? Eye for eye. At the end of the sentence, Peter sighed and felt quite powerless. It's not that he didn't want to help Ma Ziling, but that he really had no choice. Things like Evil Shura should not exist, and once they exist, they will be dead. Rivers of blood flowed across the fields. In short, the ending would be tragic. Therefore, it was not that Pete refused to save Ma Ziling, but that there was no way to save Ma Ziling. Knowing that Pete had no choice, Ma Ziling could only nod to express understanding. Then, Ma Ziling died after cutting off the phone. All parties began to ask for help to find a way to solve the Evil Shura issue. As for Shen Long, he was leisurely counting the time. Within 10 days, Shen Long will definitely return to the prehistoric world, and Luo Hu will return to the world again. He will be back in 7 days. Calculating the time is enough. But there is no need to worry. At the same time, Shen Long was also thinking about what kind of gift he should give Kong Zhuan. After all, it was his disciple's wedding. If he gave it to an ordinary mortal, it would be too much for Shen Long. While Shen Long was deep in thought, suddenly, a black figure flashed past. He frowned slightly, and Shen Long quickly relaxed his brows, and then disappeared with a sway of his body. At the same place, when Shen Long appeared again, a man appeared in front of him. This man was none other than Kazuo Yamamoto, one of the second-generation bloodline of the general. I thought you wouldn't show up, but I couldn't hold back my anger. Shen Long smiled indifferently and said, facing Shen Long's indifference, to be honest, Yamamoto Kazuo also felt a little weak. This is the second time in the past 100 years that Yamamoto Kazuo was afraid. The first time was when he faced the generals. The second time was when he faced Shen Long. But what Yamamoto Kazuo couldn't help but wonder was why he was more afraid when facing Shen Long. That kind of feeling is not something that a general can give to Shen Long. Did you hit the mark? Did you know we are all zombies? I know. I just didn't reveal it. Why? Aren't you afraid of us? Haha. Are you qualified? Shen Long sneered, looking at Kazuo Yamamoto with eyes full of ridicule. Let alone their second-generation zombies and third-generation zombies. It is considered that the generals are here personally, and it makes no difference to Shen Long. Even the generals have to kneel down. It's only right to welcome Shen Long in person. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 208. Presumptuous. Facing Shen Long's ridicule, Yamamoto Kazuo was immediately furious. Then he raised his hand and waved, and the infinite power of heaven and earth attacked Shen Long. In his opinion, he is a godlike existence, and now Shen Long is disrespecting him. Naturally, Shen Long must be punished. As for the fact that Yamamoto Kazuo did not intend to trouble Shen Long before, Yamamoto Kazuo changed his mind. However, Yamamoto Kazuo was a little too arrogant, and it was not Shen Long who wanted to take action against him. But he is seeking death himself, so we can't blame Shen Long for being rude. Destroy. Shen Long uttered the word softly in his mouth, and in an instant, the power of heaven and earth around him disappeared. Instead, big words of annihilation appeared one after another, heading straight for Yamamoto Kazuo. Whoosh! A ray of light flashed, and Yamamoto Kazuo used super movement speed. Although he could travel through space, the distance was still too short. Secondly, in front of Shen Long, these fancy skills were useless. That is to say, Shen Long didn't want to do it for the time being. Kill Yamamoto Kazuo, otherwise, Yamamoto Kazuo might not even have the ability to scream in front of Shen Long. Hey, since you're the one seeking death, don't blame me. Shen Long sighed, then twisted his hands. In an instant, 50% of the zombie's original power in Yamamoto Kazuo's body was taken away by Shen Long. Don't underestimate this 50% of the zombie's original power. If you practice well, you might be able to returning to his ancestors. He became the bloodline of the Pangwu clan. Following Shen Long's sudden attack, Yamamoto Kazuo had no ability to resist at all, and his whole body immediately collapsed. His body was extremely weak, but he could not bear the peeling off of the original power in his body. Ding! It was detected that the host successfully stripped away the zombie's original power from Kazuo Yamamoto's body, and obtained the 10,000 realm value of 800 billion. Ding! Congratulations to the host for participating in 4/10 of the main plot of the Deadlock and gaining 900 billion in world value. The sound of two system prompts made Shen Long very happy. He has gained so many world values. It seems that this world of stalemate is really not in vain. However, before Shen Long could be happy for a long time, Shen Long suddenly frowned again. But a big event happened in the ancient world. Interesting, really interesting, Shen Long murmured to himself, and then he no longer paid attention to Yamamoto Kazuo, but with a thought, he disappeared in an instant. When he reappeared, it was already a prehistoric world, and the big event that made Shen Long couldn't help but find it interesting was with him. The two people from Yuanshai Tongshan are related. Yukinjin, Daluotian. Bold. You are so brave. Tongshan, do you still regard me as your second brother? I would like to treat you as my second brother, but don't you see what bad idea you have come up with? First he plotted against me, and now he plots against me. I don't have a brother like you. Haha. Tongshan, since you're a saint, why can't you make a sacrifice? Is it possible that you have to sacrifice your elder brother? Shall I sacrifice? How to sacrifice? Destroy the holy throne, and then rebuild it to verify which one is stronger, the saint or the Huniu and Awakens? When Tongshan said this, he laughed angrily and looked at Yuanshai with murderous intent. The two of them were having a good chat. But it was because Yuanshai mentioned that if the saint reincarnated and recultivated, he would realize the Tao of Hunyuan. These two words of will Jinxian be stronger angered Tongshan. Of course, Yuanshai didn't mean anything else, but Yuanshai had been wondering whether the saint was stronger or Hunyuan and Luo Jinxian was stronger. It is said that the saint is in a certain place in some aspects. They are better than Hunyuan and Luo Jinxian. But the real situation is that their saints have been beaten by Hunyuan and Luo Jinxian. Because of this, Yuanshai was confused. Unexpectedly, Tongshan actually misunderstood, and he thought it was Yuanshai who wanted to asking him to dethrone his holy position, reincarnate and cultivate again, and realize the Hunyuan and Luo Jinxian. Thinking of this, Tongshan couldn't suppress the anger in his body. Needless to say, Tongshan became angry and started to curse Yuanshai for being shameless. It can be said that Yuanshai's whole person they were all in a state of confusion until they were scolded by Tongshan, and Yuanshai gradually recovered. After hearing what Tongshan said, Yuanshai first explained a few sentences. Unfortunately, Tongshan didn't listen to what Yuanshai said, and kept scolding him anyway. In the end, Yuanshai was also angry, and then he started to spray Tongtian wildly. Moreover, He used the big one to bully the small ones to suppress Tongtian. But Tongtian was angry at this time, and he definitely wouldn't care about Yuanqi's seniority. Plus I'm not here, and this calamity is inherent in people's lives, so naturally the more they quarrel, the more violent they become. In the end, while talking, they actually started to take action. Yuanqi directly sacrificed the 3 treasures and jade ruai, and smashed it hard on Tongtian's head. Boom! With a sound, Tongtian flew directly out of Luo Ocean. His whole soul was in turmoil, and he didn't know the east, west, north, and south at all. Even his face became extremely pale. It wasn't that Tongtian was seriously injured, but that Tongtian simply couldn't believe that Yuanqi would suddenly take action himself. In any case, the 2 of them are also brothers, but now, Yuanqi actually kills him, which makes Tongtian not know how heartbroken he is. Yuanqi, how dare you attack me? Tongtian looked at Yuanqi in shock and asked in disbelief. Faced with Tongtian's question, Yuanqi just snorted coldly, so what if I fight with you? Today, my brother wants to wake you up and let you know what it means to respect elders and younger ones. After saying that, Yuanqi took action again, and Sanbao Ruai threw it towards Tongtian fiercely, but this time Tongtian was prepared, and he would definitely not be hit by Yuanqi so easily. Even in anger, Tongtian reacted faster, just dodged, and escaped the attack of Sanbao Ruai. There was no rush to fight back at Yuanqi. Tongtian looked firmly in the direction of Hongwang, and then swore, "The way of heaven is above. I am Tongtian, one of Painu's authentic sects, and today I am here with this oath. I break away from the brotherly relationship with Yuanqi. From now on, the destiny of Jijiao will no longer be connected with the destiny of any major religion. Let me take a lesson from this." Boom! As Tongtian's words fell, the entire prehistoric world was shaken. What happened? Yuanqi, Tongtian and the 2 turned against each other. It's impossible. Am I hallucinating? I have already made a great oath of heaven. What else can I say? It must be true. Tongtiango is so courageous. Yuanqi is arrogant and has always acted like the boss of heaven, the second child of earth, and the third child of others. It's normal for Tongtian to dislike him. It's true that evil deeds committed by God can be forgiven, but evil deeds committed by oneself cannot be saved. Once the luck of the 3 pure ones is cut off, I am afraid that a lot of Xuanmen's luck will be lost. God helps the West. God helps the West. It can be said that Yuanqi Tongtian turned against him, and the happiest thing was Jinian. When he heard Tongtian's oath, Jian immediately found Wu Shen. After the 2 got together, they began to discuss a major matter. This matter has nothing to do with Yuanqi. Tongtian has nothing to do with it, but it has a lot to do with me. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 209. Illusion. Fellow Taoist Wu Shen, have you sensed it? A meaningful expression appeared on Ji Yun's face. Then he turned to look at Wu Tian and asked. Nodding, Wu Tian replied, "This is the fate of Sanqing. No one can stop it. But I am in trouble." When he thought of this, Wu Shen couldn't help but start to frown slightly. The Yuanqi Tongtian war must be a great good thing for them. After all, when Xuanmen's luck passes, other forces must benefit, and they in the West will take a break from it. It is certain that they will get a piece of the pie. However, the fierce battle in Yuanqi Tongtian will definitely alarm me. Once I intervene in this matter, it will be over, so they have to find a way to stop me. If they just rely on guidance or Wu Shen, one person must be unable to stop him. After all, I have a lot of cultivation, especially since I have learned a lot of magical powers from the Bookhouse of All Realms, which is really difficult to deal with. Thinking of this, Jinny and Wu Shen looked at each other, but both of them have it. Attention. How about you, fellow Taoist, stop me together with me? After accepting the suggestion, he asked Wu Shen. Wu Shen himself had this intention, and naturally he would not refuse. Nodding, Wu Shen stood up directly. Soon, the two hit it off, and then cut through the space and headed straight for the Taipei King Jin rushes. At this time, I also sensed the battle at Yuanqi Tongtian. Just when I was about to set out to stop them, who knew the figure of Jiyin Wuxian appeared. "What do you two fellow Taoists mean by this? If you don't get out of the way quickly, are you trying to provoke me?" Having said this, I offered up the Taikai diagram, the innate treasure, and stood it above my head. At the same time, I summoned the Panlong pole in my hand. A smile appeared on his face, and he took the lead and said, "Fellow Taoist, I have misunderstood. I came here this time just to discuss Taoism with fellow Taoists. I believe that fellow Taoists will not deny this honor, right?" The excuse for picking him up was far-fetched, but it was still an excuse. Therefore, even though I know what their purpose is, I am still helpless. The most important thing is that Yuan Shai Tongshan has already fought at this time, and even if he rushes over, it will be too late. Moreover, it is really difficult to escape from the hands of two powerful saints. No matter how strong I am and how high my cultivation level is, it is absolutely impossible to break through their obstacles in just a short while. It seems that the two fellow Taoists are determined not to let go. I looked gloomy, and the Panlong pole began to shine brightly. Shrugging, Wuxian replied, "For the time being, fellow Taoist, it's better not to think about leaving. Otherwise, what a shameless statement." I snorted softly, then waved my hand and threw the dragon pole, and smashed it towards Wuxian. Wuxian summoned the god-killing spear and started fighting with me. Anyway, they just wanted to stop me, not to fight to the death with me. Therefore, with the cooperation of Jiyin Wuxian, I really can't do anything against the two of them. Dragon Court Hall. Okay, that's great. Yuan Shai Tongshan turned against him, which is really gratifying. Zilong shouted happily beside Shen Long, feeling indescribably happy in his heart. Once Xuanmen's luck is lost, the Dragon Clan will definitely benefit, so it is normal for Zilong to be so happy, but Shen Long is not as happy as Zilong about this. Long's huge mood swings. After all, to Shen Long, both Yuan Shai Tongshan and even all the saints are unsightly and cannot pose any threat to him, so he doesn't care so much. It just makes Shen Long a little uncomfortable. The answer is, if no one can stop Yuan Shai Tongshan from this battle, will it trigger a butterfly effect? That is, Yuan Shai will defeat Tongshan, which will arouse Tongshan's wrath, and finally destroy the prehistoric world and reopen the world. You must know that the current Tongshan does not have the four swords of killing immortals. If the immortal killing sword formation cannot be deployed, Tongshan will be a weak saint. Not to mention that Yuan Shai still has the Pang-U banner in his hand. Under the situation of one ebb and flow, Tongshan will definitely lose. If it is as Shen Long expected, Hongjun will he feed them the holy meteor pill and control them? Shen Long doesn't know what will happen in the next plot. He is also very curious, so he will return directly from the world of stalemate. Otherwise, Shen Long will wait for the evil Shura. He came back after finishing. Of course, the time flow rate in the prehistoric world is different from the time flow rate in the rigid world, so Shen Long doesn't need to worry. Okay, don't be so happy. You have been a saint for so long. I am going to test you. Do you know who will win in this battle? Suddenly, Shen Long asked Zilong a question. Regarding Shen Long's question, Zilong replied without even thinking about it, Yuan Shai. After all, he has the Pang-U banner in his hand, so he will definitely win. Oh? You sure? Shen Long smiled slightly, as if he was questioning Zilong's guess. It seems that Tongshan must lose, but is this really the result? Yes, for sure, Tongshan is just at the end of its battle, and the battle situation will not turn around. Zhulong affirmed. This kind of question was too simple for him. How could he answer it wrong? Without arguing with Zhulong, Shen Long turned his gaze to the chaos, but he seemed to find something different. Chaos. At this time, the battle in Yuan Shai Tongshan was already very fierce. Countless chaotic earth, water, fire and wind passed by the two of them, and chaotic storms were set off one after another. That is to say, Hongjun's formation was guarding the ancient times, otherwise, they would have been there long ago. It has been affected. The battle between the two has destroyed tens of thousands of miles of chaotic space, and even the raw chaos stones have been beaten into powder. Chaos sword energy fell from the sky, flying in the chaos, and the Qilin sword energy did not give in. When put together with them, a loud clanging sound was made. No one could have imagined that Tongshan without the four swords of Zuxian could survive Yuanshai for so long. Even Shen Long had thought that Tongshan would be defeated directly and was defeated by Yuanshai. Fuck it. But the actual situation is completely different. Although Tongshan is indeed in a miserable state, it has not reached the point where his life is endangered. Seeing that Tongshan is so stubborn and refuses to admit defeat, Yuanshai can't help but say, "Tongshan, I am a brother. As long as you admit your mistake to me in front of all sentient beings and retract your previous words, I will forgive you." Damn, shameless Yuanshai, don't let me bow my head. You and I are no longer brothers. Don't tarnish my reputation. You are so powerful, but I have given you the steps and you still can't get down. It's really hard not to shed tears until you see the coffin. With that said, Yuanshai shook the Pangwu flag again, and hundreds of chaotic sword energy went straight to Tongshan. It can be said that if it is implemented, even if Tongshan is not dead, he will be seriously injured. But in the face of Yuanshai's crazy attack, Tongshan just sneered secretly, and then he muttered a few spells in his mouth, and then shouted, "Get up!" In the blink of an eye, chaos shook, spiritual energy scattered, and the infinite energy of chaos began to be absorbed by the void. When he saw this scene, Yuanshai couldn't help but secretly retreat, wanting to leave here. But when he turned around, he realized that the people around him were already old. The formation has been set up a long time ago. The formation barrier is gradually forming. Even if he wants to leave, it is too late. Unless Tongshan takes the initiative to untie the formation, he can only leave by killing Tongshan. The look in his eyes reveals with a hint of murderous intention. Yuanshai shouted angrily, "Tongshan, open the formation quickly, otherwise, don't blame me for causing your blood to splash into chaos." Ha 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 ha. Yuanshai, just wish yourself good luck this time. Tongshan laughed twice, then took a few steps back, and the surrounding spiritual energy began to reject it again. That kind of terrifying pressure, even Yuanshai felt a great sense of fear. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 210. To be honest, Yuanshai never expected that he would be plotted by Tongshan. He doesn't know when Tongshan set up the formation, and now it seems that this formation is not ordinary. Otherwise, Tongshan would not be so confident, which made Yuanshai somewhat worried. Among the three brothers, Tongshan's formation talent is the strongest, which Yuanshai also admits. Therefore, if he really falls into Tongshan's formation, it will be extremely difficult for Yuanshai to escape. In addition, among the prehistoric times, there are 10 formations that are recognized as the strongest formations. The first formation, 10,000 Immortals formation, the Jijiao Zhenjiao formation. Although this formation has never been revealed, even I, Yuanshai, admitted that this formation is extremely powerful and can be called the first of all great formations. But because there is no chance for Tongshan to lead his disciples to perform it, it is not known to all sentient beings for the time being. The second formation, Zuxian Sword formation, the first killing formation in the world. The saints set up the formation. Only the 4 saints cannot break it. The power of the Zuxian Sword formation can be explained in one sentence. The third formation method, the 12 capital heavenly gods formation, the Wu clan's great formation, and the 12 ancestral witches formation can summon Pangwu's true body. Pangwu was the great god who opened up the ancient world, the strongest person in the ancient world. Even if he only summons those who are not enough to be himself, not everyone can compete with 1/10. The fourth formation, the Zushan Starred formation, the Demon Clan Suppression Clan formation, with the sun and lunar stars as the formation eyes, 365 ancient stars as the formation base, 2 top-level treasures from Hichu Luo Hu and 365 star flags, plus 365 masters of the Demon Clan set up a large formation, which can fight against the true form of Pangwu summoned by the Wu clan's 12 capital gods and evil formations, with great power. The fifth formation, Liang Yi Dust formation, created by Lazy, the leader of the 3 pure ones, The formation forms a world of its own, the disillusionment of life and death, the reincarnation of yin and yang, can turn the dust into the universe, and has supreme power. The sixth formation, Blood Sea Formation, the formation of the ancestor of the Blood Sea and Styx River, Panu opened the world, blood turned into rivers, and another piece of dirty blood turned into the prehistoric Blood Sea, which is the most evil and filthy place in the prehistoric times, the underworld. Ancestor he was born in it, drained 480 million blood god sons, set up a Blood Sea Formation, and swallowed all things in the world and the physical soul, which was very cruel. The seventh formation, the Five Elements Formation, must be composed of 5 innate spiritual treasures, the 5 directions flags of heaven and earth. It is said that the formation can trap 5 saints, but no one in the prehistoric era has gathered the 5 directions flags, and no one has seen the 5 elements. It's a pity that the formation is so powerful. This formation can be ranked in the top 10 with just a little bit of legend. The eighth formation, Nine Bend Yellow River Formation, the Battle of the Gods. Empress Gigl Sanqing jointly set up the formation. The 3 talents were combined in the formation to contain the heaven and earth. There are pills to confuse the immortal and techniques to close the immortal, which can lose the spirit of the immortal, eliminate the soul of the immortal, trap the image of the immortal, damage the spirit of the immortal, lose the origin of the immortal, and damage the limbs of the immortal. The 12 golden immortals entered the battle, and were eliminated by the Empress Sanqing to top the 3 flowers. They were full of magical power and became useless. If Yuanqi had not bullied the small ones at the last moment, all the 12 golden immortals would have been on the list of gods. The ninth formation, the innate Bagua Formation, Fuxi, the emperor of the human race, understood it from the Hechuo Wushu. Using the Hechuo Wushu as the eye of the formation, it evolved various mountains, rivers and other environmental changes in the ancient prehistoric period. It was used to guard the human race. Big Array. The 10th formation method, Body Formation. Zundi relies on the body tree to set up a large formation for the formation eye. The formation forms a world of its own. The main purpose is to trap people. The scene of the Buddha's sermons is evolved in the formation, and bursts of Buddha's sound surround it. Ear. If the people in the Salvation Formation do not have great magic power, they will not be able to escape the hands of Buddhism in the end. I can't say that Yuanqi is familiar with all of these 10 major formations, but he also knows them almost inseparably, especially the top few formations. Yuanqi knew them all very well, but the large formation that Tongshan has arranged now is obviously not the formation that he knows. From this point of view, didn't Tongshan realize a new formation? Even this kind of thing is hidden. It has to be said that Tongshan has harbored evil intentions for a long time. Thinking of this, the anger in Yuanqi's heart is getting stronger and stronger. He even suspected that Tongshan had planned this war and rebellion. Of course, Yuanqi was a bit extreme. Although Tongshan understood such a powerful formation, he just didn't have time to tell me and him. Now that Yuanqi thinks of him like this, it must be a bit of a misunderstanding. It's just that Tongshan couldn't explain anything. Naturally, Yuanqi kept thinking about it and went into a misunderstanding. The anger on his face was clearly visible, and Yuanqi couldn't help but shouted angrily, "You Tongshan! It turns out that you have long wanted to break away from the status of Sand King. You are really a son of man in vain, and you are not worthy of being called Pinu Zengzong. I will teach you a lesson today." You say it. After saying that, the Pinu flag in Yuanqi's hand shone brightly, and hundreds of chaotic sword energy flew out, which made the formation begin to shake violently. The formation arranged by Tongshan this time is called the Formation of Life and Death. It is said that Tongshan has just been perfected, with one thought of life and one thought of death. This formation is indeed very powerful, even if it is compared to the top 10 formations of the prehistoric times. It is not weaker at all. The most important thing is that the formation of life and death can be self-sufficient, that is, it can absorb any energy to replenish the formation, even if it is an attack. The formation of life and death can be converted into energy. Therefore, if you cannot rely on absolute power to break this formation instantly, you want to break it, you really have to pray for heaven, Yuanshai was not yet clear about the function of the formation, so he was a lot more reckless. It was only after Yuanshai sent out nearly 1,000 chaotic sword energy that he vaguely discovered something. It's just that it's too late. One thought of life, one thought of death. Yuanshai, you are destined to escape from this calamity. After saying that, Tongshan waved his hand and fired out several magic powers, and the formation immediately began to erupt with infinite power. At this time, Yuanshai also began to be invaded by the power of death, and his whole body seemed to be trapped in a quagmire, unable to move at all. Black qi began to spread all over Yuanshai's body. It can be said that Tongshan was really murderous. If Yuanshai admitted his mistake, Tongshan could still spare his life, but if Yuanshai really refused to beg for mercy and admitted his mistake, then don't blame Tongshan for being ruthless. Yuanshai didn't know that he had been. I was pondering whether the saint or the Hunyu and Luo Jingxian was stronger. It just so happened that Tongshan gave Yuanshai this opportunity to reincarnate and rebuild, so that Yuanshai could personally understand which one was stronger. In addition, once Yuanshai died in chaos, it would be true dead. After all, the saint's immortality is only limited to the primitive world. Without the blessing of the power of heaven, he will still die. Buzz, the void shook, and the black energy dispersed. Half of Yuanshai's body could not move, and he could only rely on the power of his soul to observe his surroundings. But that massive black energy was like a tarsal maggot. No matter how strong the power of Yuanshai's soul was, and couldn't destroy it. In the end, Yuanshai was directly enveloped by the black energy, and only one head was left that could shake left and right a few times. Yuanshai, I ask you, are you willing to kowtow to me and admit your mistakes? Damn it, don't even think about it. If you don't kowtow and admit your mistake, you may not be able to escape today. You have to think clearly. Ha 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 ha. You are so powerful that you still dare to kill me? Didn't I say, if I lend you a few more courages, why don't you come? Yuanshai looked up to the sky and laughed, as if he had heard some big joke. It's not that Yuanshai is not afraid of life and death, but Yuanshai is confident that Tongshan dare not kill him. After all, there is still me here. If Tongshan dares to kill him, how can he explain to me? It's just that what Yuanshai can't help but wonder is, why hasn't I come here after so long? Logically speaking, I should have come long ago. Could it be that there was an accident? A thought flashed in Yuanshai's mind. His face also started to look ugly. Indeed, as he expected, I am still entangled by Ji and Wutian and cannot escape at all. Naturally, we can't come to save him. As for Tongshan, he didn't know whether it was due to the calamity or what Yuanshai said was too much. When Yuanshai showed a disdainful expression, he actually didn't hold back. The black energy gradually enveloped Yuanshai's body. For a moment, Yuanshai was gone. No breath. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 211, The Formation of Life and Death. One thought of life and one thought of death is no joke. After all, it is a top-level formation that can rival the top 10 formations in the world. No matter how strong Yuanshai is, there is really no way to break the formation in front of this formation. The final result is self-evident. Yuanshai must die. Buzz. Suddenly, a large amount of light rain fell from the 9 heavens, one after another, extremely brilliant and truly beautiful. When a saint falls, he will feed back the ancient world. As the saying goes, he was born in the ancient world and died in the ancient world. After all, a ray of the saint's soul is in the way of heaven. In the long river of fate, as the light rain fell, all sentient beings in the ancient world were shocked. A great opportunity. This must be a great opportunity. Nirvana of a saint? Feeding back the great wilderness? How can this be? What happened? Who died? Is it Sanqing or Ji and Tai? Could it be Wu Shen, Who can tell me what happened? Why is there talk about the saint's nirvana? This breath ... It's the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, and the saint of the Yuan dynasty has reached nirvana. What? The original saint is dead? Don't be kidding. Ha ha ha. After absorbing this light rain, I can break through to the quasi-sage realm. What are you waiting for? Everyone, hurry up and absorb the breakthrough. How strong Yuan Shi's cultivation is naturally beyond the imagination of this small group of sentient beings. Naturally, when Yuan Shi's power is dispersed, it is not something this group of people can absorb. Anyone who absorbs it will have great cultivation. The increase in strength is probably comparable to that of the 4 Dragon Kings practicing together. After all, it is the nirvana of a saint. After death, he will feed back the great wilderness. Countless Yuan Hui may not appear once, and the impact it brings is certainly not small. It's just time. It can't last forever, otherwise, the prehistoric world will not know how much changes will occur. In the current prehistoric world, it can be said that there are as many quasi-sages as dogs, and the great Luo are everywhere, and their number has reached an unimaginable level. At this moment, even Shen Long in the Longding Hall could not help but start to frown slightly. Yuan Shi? Is he really dead? Shen Long murmured. No matter how powerful he is, this is the first time he has seen the nirvana of a saint. This has never been recorded in books. Naturally, Shen Long will be very curious and confused. Horrible. Really terrible. Tongshan actually killed Yuan Shi. If this were known to all sentient beings in the wild, there would be another uproar. Zilong's shocked eyes could not dissipate for a long time, and then he couldn't help but sigh. This battle result was a bit unimaginable to Zilong, but it really happened. While Zilong was sighing, he also admired Shen Long's strength. He could expect this, but soon, Zilong asked curiously, "Brother, Yuan Shi is dead. Why haven't you seen me yet?" Now that the secret has been deceived, even Zilong can't detect my location, so he is very puzzled. Of course, it's not that I don't want to appear at this time, but that he is entangled by the 2 men, Jiyin and Wutian, and cannot get away easily. Even if I use all my strength and all the treasures come out, there is nothing I can do. After all, there are 2 powerful saints on the opposite side. In terms of strength, they are really not weaker than him. He raised his hand to create a mirror image, and Shen Long replied, "You look." Zilong turned his head curiously. When he saw the scene in the mirror, he couldn't help but be stunned. After a long time, Zilong slowly said, "It's so bold to lead Wushan. They are not afraid of doing this. Did you offend me to death, or are they really confident?" "No matter what you say, I am also the leader of all saints and the first disciple of Xuanmen. Now that Jiyin Wushan intercepts me and leads to Yuan Shi's death, they must bear this big cause and effect." But Jiyin Wushan is not afraid. Anyway, they themselves are influenced by cause and effect. If there are too many lice and they don't bite them, they won't worry about anything. Just wait and see. It is estimated that there will be another bloody storm in the future. In addition, the saints will also start to make calculations among themselves, telling the 4 Dragon Kings to be optimistic about the members of the Dragon Clan and not to get involved in unnecessary wars. Shen Long gave an order, and then began to close his eyes in silence, but he didn't know what he was thinking. Seeing this, Zilong nodded and stepped back. Once this matter is settled, the saints will definitely start plotting. So, the best way for the Dragon Clan is not to participate, otherwise, if someone uses it as a gun, it will be a big loss. Even if the Dragon Clan is very strong and doesn't care about this, the feeling of being used as a gun must not be good. And Shen at this time, Long didn't think about anything. He was communicating with the system and heard how many rewards he had received. Ding! Congratulations to the host clan for breaking through 289.16 billion, for getting the reward, and a random control of the world. Ding! Congratulations to the host clan for breaking through 289.17 billion and receiving the reward, the Chaos Treasure God's Perspective. Ding! Congratulations to the host tribe for breaking through 289.18 billion, receiving rewards, and refining the secret method of the Boundless Four Seas. Ding! Congratulations to the host tribe for breaking through 289.19 billion and receiving the reward, the Chaos Treasure, the Immortal Disaster. Ding! Congratulations to the host clan for breaking through 2,000 people. The long-lost system prompt sounded again. The Pure-Blood Dragon Clan was about to exceed 300 billion, and this did not include those Dragon Clan in the Hongmen world. If they were added together, Shen Long didn't know how many purebred dragons there would be. This is the power of the system. The more clan members there are, the higher the rewards. Today's rewards are all at the lowest Chaos Spirit Treasure level, which makes Shen Long secretly smack his tongue. Horrible. Really terrible. Speaking of which, it is useless for him to keep so many chaos spiritual treasures. If there's a suitable one, he can give it to his disciples. But speaking of which, what have the Black Turtle and the Brachiosaurus been doing lately? Shen Long has never seen their figures. Fortunately, Xuangai has been practicing in seclusion. Now that he thinks about it, he should be about to break through to the realm of a saint. According to her, Shen Long actually has an innate spiritual treasure that is more suitable for her, and she can give it to him when the time comes. As for Kong Zhuan, it would be nice to reward him with a chaos spiritual treasure, which would also improve Kong Zhuan's strength a lot. On the contrary, the Thong branch tape has not returned to the Dragon Clan in recent times. Even the news was rarely passed to Shen Long, which made Shen Long frown slightly, and then began to calculate the whereabouts of the monkey. It's just not a matter of calculation. Once he calculated it, Shen Long discovered a big secret. The monkey disappeared. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 212. It's not accurate to say that it disappeared, but that the trampoline monkey was trapped in a formation. This formation is not an ordinary formation, but the famous body formation. As mentioned before, the body array is a large array set up by body trees as the center of the array. The array forms a self-contained world. The main purpose is to trap people. The scene of the Buddha's sermons is evolved in the array, and bursts of Buddha's sounds fill the ears. If the people in the transformation formation do not have great magical power, they will eventually be unable to escape the hands of Buddhism, and the Brachiosaurus will be trapped by this formation. You don't need to think about it. You can also know that it is closely related to the lead. After all, Zunti has now surrendered to the Dragon Clan, so he will definitely not arrange such a large formation to deal with the Passarm ape. Therefore, in the end, only one person is left with this possibility. Although the monkey was trapped by the body formation, it was not in any danger. On the contrary, it seemed to improve the monkey's mood a lot, which made Shen Long happy. Sure enough, the fastest way to improve one's strength is to practice. Now the ape's cultivation level has reached the sub-sage level. If there is a chance, he can be rewarded with a beam of Hongmen purple chi. Help him become a saint. Once the Black Turtle and the Brachiosaurus become saints again, it can be said that the ancient world will become the private property of the Dragon Clan. At least neither Hong Jun nor the saints, nor the creatures of all races, would have any objections to them. After all, prehistoric times valued the strong. When faced with someone stronger than them, even if they were extremely dissatisfied, they would not show it. Unless they are desperate, they will just break their teeth and swallow them in their stomachs. And why Jiyan wanted to trap the monkey? It must be because of Sun Wukong. Thinking of this, Shen Long thought, and Zunti immediately appeared in front of Shen Long, Dragon Ancestor. Zunti bowed respectfully to Shen Long, and then waited patiently for Shen Long to issue the order. Nodding, Shen Long replied, "Go and break the body formation and bring back the monkeys." "Yes," Zunti responded. He never questions Shen Long's orders. It can be said that he will do whatever Shen Long asks him to do. After Shen Long waved his hand, Zunti also cut through the space and left this place. Except for the memory of the West, all the remaining memories are retained. The only thing that has been removed is the relationship with Jiyan. Therefore, it is easy for Zunti to break the body formation. After all, the creation of the body formation, the one is Zunti. In terms of formations, Even Ji Yin is more than one step weaker than Zunti. And as Zunti suddenly appeared near the body formation, Ji Yin also felt something. Immediately, Ji Yin took a step forward, blocked in front of Zunti. Second brother, do you still remember being a brother? The mimifo sound of Ji Yin resounded in Zunti's ears. Unfortunately, Zunti's memory has been erased. How to restore it? No matter how emotional and touching Ji Yin's words are, they can't bring back the former Zunti. Faced with Ji Yin's bewildering voice, Zunti just looked cold, and then said, "Fellow Taoist Ji Yin, if you are just looking for a poor Taoist to talk about Taoism, I will naturally be willing to talk to you in detail. But if you are a Taoist you have ulterior motives, don't blame me for being ruthless." At the end of Zunti's words, murderous intent burst out, which made Ji Yin stunned for a moment, and his heart was filled with sorrow. Thinking about how deep the relationship between the two of them was in the past, they never expected that there would actually be a life-and-death relationship. No matter what, Ji Yin will definitely not fight against Zunti. Therefore, Ji Yin, who wanted to stop Zunti, had no choice but to give up. Nodding, Ji Yin replied, "Well, I will definitely disturb Tao in the future." Friends, let's talk about Taoism with fellow Taoists. Fellow Taoists, please feel free to do it. After saying that, Ji Yin cut through the space and left Huaga Mountain, leaving Zunti behind. He went straight to the body array in Huaga Mountain. It takes a long time to break the body array, especially it takes 3 years to complete the formation, or it takes 3 years to arrange it personally. Even if it is to break the formation, it will take a year. The main reason is that the formation contains various small formations and the power of laws, so it cannot be mentioned quasi-break it immediately. Just like that, while Zunti was breaking the formation, on the other side, I also came to Tongshan. Chaos snapped. I slapped Tongshan hard on the face, which made Tongshan very angry. But after all, the person in front of me is me. As the saying goes, the eldest brother is the father. Even Tongshan can't take action against me. Besides, I am not young. Take care of him, be kind to him, and everything happens for a reason. Tongshan can only endure it. Looking at the soul floating in the void, I trembled all over, and my eyes began to turn red. They said that I did nothing, but now I am watching helplessly my second brother died in front of me. How could I not feel heartbroken? That means what happened has already happened and I can't change it. Otherwise, even if I spend everything I have, I will save you Anshai. Third brother, he is your second brother. You dare to kill him? Do you really not care about brotherhood at all? I trembled, pointed at Tongshan, and asked. Faced with my question, Tongshan replied, "Brother, it's not because I am not a son of man, and I don't care about brotherhood. It's because you Anshai deceived others too much, so I forced him to do so. I had no choice but to kill him. Now that things have happened, it is up to my elder brother to decide whether to kill him or not. I have no complaints." After saying that, Tongshan looked like a broken jar and stopped talking. I, on the other hand, took out the 9 Dragons golden staff and wanted to hit Tongshan's head hard. He gestured a few times, but it didn't hit. "You have to do it." Now that Anshai is dead, if Tongshan is killed again, won't I be left alone? Therefore, even if I am angry with Tongshan again, I can't kill Tongshan to vent my anger. I can only temporarily kill Anshai's Yuan was taken back, and he tried to find a way to resurrect Yuan Shi. But there was one thing. Only part of Yuan Shi's Yuan Shen was wiped out by the formation. Can it really be resurrected? Even I can't help but feel a drum in my heart. Of course, even if no matter how difficult the process is, I have to do it. This is his responsibility, and he really can't avoid it. I don't have time to curse Tongshan anymore, so I take the lead in returning to the ancient world, but I intend to use the power of heaven to resurrect Anshai. Buzz. The void shook, spiritual energy splashed everywhere, and the terrifying power of heavenly laws permeated the entire prehistoric world. Suddenly, all living beings in the prehistoric era were attracted by my actions, and they all cast their gazes over, extremely curious. I want this resurrection of Anshai. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 213. I have to say, I am still smart enough. Yuanqi is a saint of heaven. As long as he can draw on the power of heaven, there is a 50% chance that he can be resurrected. Even if he can't be resurrected, it's still good to give it a try. And when all the sentient beings in the world saw this scene, they were all shocked. One is that they have never seen a saint die and then be resurrected. Second, there is only so much soul left in Yuanqi. Can it really be resurrected? Will I succeed in the end? Third, why was Yuanqi killed? Who was the person who killed Yuanqi? Is it really reaching the sky? Dramas like brothers turning against each other were not uncommon in ancient times, but now that they have reached the level of saints, everyone lacks everything. What is the reason for this? Do any of you know what happened in the chaos? Why was the original saint killed? At this time, Bindao had heard a little bit about it. He heard that Saint Yuanqi was bullying others too much and was always thinking about plotting against Saint Tongshan. Only then did Saint Tongshan kill him in anger. Stop talking nonsense. Saint Tongshan's 4 swords of killing immortals have long been destroyed by the 4 great masters of the dragon clan. The king took it away, but the Yuanqi saint had the innate treasure Pangu banner in his hand. How could he be killed by the Tongshan saint? Okay. Then why do you think it was the Yuanqi saint who died in the end? Okay, stop arguing. This matter must be related to the 2 people's teachings. Don't you remember this matter? Following the reminder of a powerful man, all sentient beings in the prehistoric era immediately remembered something. The teachings of the interpretation teaching are to follow the heavens, explain the way of heaven, divide all things into 3, 6 or 9 grades, and teach according to their talents. The teachings of the interception teaching are the grade way of 50, Danyan 49. All things have a glimmer of vitality. It is important to teach without distinction. Anyone who has a heart towards the Tao can join the religion and intercept a glimmer of vitality for all things. The 2 religions of Shanji were created by Yuanqi and Tongshan respectively. Their teachings are the foundation of sanctification. So they never given in the doctrinal dispute. If it is a war caused by different concepts, it can be explained. And just when they were discussing this matter, the void shook, and spiritual energy spread everywhere, splashing. The terrifying power of heaven spread out and continued to gather around Yuanqi. Seeing this scene, Shen Long in the Longding Hall couldn't help but shake his head. My idea is certainly good, but unfortunately, it will eventually fail. Heaven's law in the long river of destiny. There is no longer the mark of Yuanqi's soul. How to resurrect him? If you want to resurrect the soul, the simplest and most direct way is to find the mark of Yuanqi's soul in the long river of destiny, and then rely on the way of heaven. But now I simply want to borrow the power of heaven to resurrect Yuanqi. Is this possible? Not to mention the power of heaven. Even the Great Road is difficult enough to do it. As the saying goes, it is difficult for a clever woman to make a meal without rice, even if there is no rice. How to cook? Is it possible to do it? On the other side, the heavenly court, the Lingxiao palace. Ha 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 ha. Okay, okay. Yuanqi's death is a great thing. Looking at what I did, Hashin couldn't help laughing. The laughter shocked Yachi, which made Yachi a little confused. After learning the ins and outs of the matter, Yachi seemed to understand something. No wonder Hashin would be like this happy, but the former Yuanqi was really a little too much. Among the saints, only Yuanqi was the most arrogant and looked down on them. Now that Yuanqi is dead and completely destitute, how can Hashin be unhappy and unhappy? Of course, Hashin is also knowing that I can only be happy for a while. I will definitely try every means to resurrect Yuanqi, but even so, it doesn't matter. Yachi, how are things being prepared? Don't worry, everything has been arranged, and Yaoji will definitely be a success when she gets married this time. Well, Yaoji is the emperor's sister, so remember not to lose the limelight, otherwise, you will definitely be looked down upon. I know all this, you don't need to worry. Well, the future of Heavenly Court depends on Yaoji. Yaoji, I hope you don't blame me for being my brother. Hey, Hashin, don't be sad either. This marriage is destined by fate. It's time for Yaoji to get married, so you don't have to be too sad. Yaoji comforted Hashin, Anyway, Yaji also likes Kong Zhuan, so Hashan is not sacrificing Yaji to protect the heaven. Besides, who is Kong Zhuan? The saint of heaven. The most important thing is Shen Long, the first disciple. This status is something Yaoji has achieved. Therefore, Hashan should be happy. Hearing Yachi's words, Hashan nodded. He also understood what was going on, but he was just such a sister, and after getting married, he still is really a bit reluctant to let go. Without talking about this matter anymore, Hashan turned around and went back to the palace to rest. In the wilderness, there is chaos and void. How is it possible? Why can't it be resurrected? What about the soul mark? Where has the soul seal gone? Finally, when I continued to use up all my energy, I finally discovered a shocking secret. It was that the Yuan-Shi's Yuan-Shen mark was missing. Similarly, not only Yuan-Shi's Yuan-Shen mark, but also his Yuan-Shen mark could not be found in the long river of fate of heaven. You must know that the saints can be resurrected precisely because the mark of the soul is in the long river of destiny of heaven. Now that there is no mark of the soul, doesn't it mean that the saints are really dead when they die? What is this? What happened? Could it be that they were plotted by heaven? Or was it Hong Jun who deceived them? Saints simply cannot be immortal. All kinds of thoughts echoed in my mind. Finally, I still couldn't hold it back. With Yuan-Shi's the Yuan-Shen flew straight towards chaos. At this moment, I finally had the slightest doubt about Hong Jun. It's not that I disrespect Hong Jun, but there are some things that can't be explained. It's like now that the mark of the Yuan-Shen is lost, so big no one informed the saints about the incident. What did Hong Jun think? I can't blame me for thinking too much, but this matter is related to their lives. That is, Yuan-Shi died before he discovered this matter. Otherwise, the consequences would be it's really hard to live. Without thinking so much, I went straight in the direction of Zixiao Palace to look for it. If Hong Jun didn't give a perfect explanation for this matter, I would really never be done with it. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 214, Boundless Chaos. Logically speaking, I am also familiar with the location of Zixiao Palace, but I don't know why. This time I searched for a long time and couldn't find the shadow of Zixiao Palace. It wasn't until I was completely angry, and the cultivation of the 10th level of a saint completely exploded, that I saw a simple and mysterious building standing in the chaos, with a plaque hanging on the door, which was Zixiao Palace. The characters seem to have the trace of Tao. On both sides of the door stand two Taoist boys, one male and one female. Even I don't recognize it. Senior brother, come in quickly. The teacher has been waiting for a long time, one of the Taoist boys shouted, and I hurriedly flew over. This is indeed the Zixiao Palace, but for some reason, it gave me a strange feeling, as if it was my first time to go here. In my heart confused, I walked into the Zixiao Palace. Soon, Hong Jun's shadow also appeared in front of me. After bowing respectfully to Hong Jun, I said, "Teacher." This time the Supreme Master came forward, but there is something unclear, and I hope the teacher can give me some advice. But it doesn't matter. Hong Jun's cold voice came out, and then he lowered his head and looked at me, and I didn't care about Hong Jun's eyes at all, and continued, "I dare to ask the teacher, why is there no yuan of our saints in the long river of destiny of heaven?" God seal. I hope the teacher can answer this matter. Hong Jun was stunned for a moment, then pondered for a moment, and then replied, "The general trend of the way of heaven cannot be changed. Your soul mark has been integrated with the way of heaven. Naturally, the mark of the soul cannot be found in the long river of destiny. Speaking of which, the matter is related to you saints." What? Is it related to us? Yes, the number of saints in the world has suddenly increased, and the natural way of heaven is no longer what it used to be. The best way now is to destroy the other saints. In this way, as long as the number of saints is less than 10, your soul marks will also automatically appear. Don't you want to resurrect Yuan-Shi? And it will be effortless by then. Hong Jun explained slowly, but his words made me even more suspicious. Since they became disciples, Hong Jun has never sowed dissension, especially the disputes among the saints. At least, He has never done it on the surface. But now, what does Hong Jun mean by asking him to kill other saints? Who doesn't know that a saint can destroy the world with just one thought? If the saint is really pressed for help, wouldn't it be the end of the world if he destroys the ancient world and rebuilds the world? Therefore, how could Hong Jun say such a thing? Thinking of this, a light flashed in my eyes, and then he said, "May I ask the teacher, what is the difference between a saint and awakens?" Humphrey, this matter is not simple. The saint is the a golden immortal, but the a golden immortal is not a saint. The saint has achieved the fruition of the way of heaven. With the help of the power of the ancient way of heaven, he is the spokesperson of the way of heaven. The true spirit is entrusted with the way of heaven. His magic power is immeasurable and he is the way of heaven. Under the control, the ancient world will return to chaos. The way of heaven will fall, and the saint will die. Otherwise it will not die or be destroyed. The awakens has achieved the fruition of the great Tao. Unlike the saints who are immortal, the same level of saints in the prehistoric era completely defeated the awakens. Because they cannot borrow the power of the prehistoric heaven, they are not controlled by the heaven and have a very high degree of freedom, and he will not die even after the destruction of the ancient world. What kind of saint is just and under control? At the end of the sentence, Hong Jun couldn't help but mock the saint, which shocked me instantly. You know, Hong Jun was very much in favor of the saint being stronger at the beginning, but now, he actually changed his opinion, which surprised me. The innate treasure Tai Kai too was directly sacrificed, and I did not hesitate, but directly shouted angrily, "Hey, who are you? Why don't you show your true colors quickly? Ha 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 ha, you actually discovered it." It seems that the prehistoric saint is not that unbearable. A wanton laugh came out, and then Hong Jun's figure was shrouded in white light, and finally turned into a middle-aged man. This man is also one of the chaos demon gods, but he is a thousand-faced demon god who can transform into anyone, and was not discovered by him. That is to say, the thousand-faced demon god did not understand Hong Jun, otherwise, how could he be exposed by me so quickly? As for the Zixiao Palace, it was also made by the thousand-faced demon god, the illusion demon god and the night demon god. Just to deceive I took the bait. In fact, I was on the right path before, but the thousand-faced demon god used Lingbao to change my route in advance, which made me think that Zixiao Palace had changed its direction. Now I am surrounded by 3 demon gods, saying to be honest, he is really dangerous. And why the 3 of the thousand-faced demon god are targeting me? It's because they want to fight for the attention of the whole world. As the saying goes, the thousand-faced demon god has always been the most insidious demon god. 1. Because he can transform into anyone, he specializes in sowing discord. As long as he can be sent to the ancient world, he will be able to provoke civil strife in the ancient world. In this case, the ancient world will be defeated by themselves, and they chaos demon god they can also pick up mistakes. Of course, the thousand-faced demon god thinks very well, but they don't understand the ancient world and Shen Long too well, not to mention that Shen Long has the eye of creation and the eye of truth, even if he just relies on his own cultivation, because Shen Long can also see the difference between the thousand-faced demon god and he wants to cause civil strife in the ancient world, so save it. At least, the thousand-faced demon god's plan must not be against Shen Long and the Dragon Clan. Of course, if it is against other saints, if so, it's hard to say. After all, not every saint is as powerful as Shen Long, and he also has the eye of creation and the eye of truth. It turns out to be the demon god of chaos. I don't know how many demon gods died at the hands of our saints in the ancient world. Now you are here to die. Are you tired of living? His face darkened, and the 9 dragons' golden staff shone brightly. At the same time, I also sent out the Shi talisman, intending to report the message to the saints of the prehistoric times. It's a pity that the strength of the 3 chaos demon gods present is not much weaker than me. Ujiu will definitely not be able to hide it from their eyes. After forcibly intercepting the Shi talisman, the thousand-faced demon god sneered. Want to tip off the news? Madness. I will leave the illusion and night to you. As for the ancient world, I can solve it by myself. After the thousand-faced demon god finished speaking, his body began to change instantly, and he soon became exactly the same as me. Even the spirit treasures were exactly the same as mine. I felt the talisman on the Hunyuan talisman in my hand carefully. The breath. The thousand-faced demon god just shook his body, and the breath was the same as that of me. It can be said that even if it is the real me standing in front of the thousand-faced demon god, he would not be able to recognize it. The sneer at the corner of his mouth reappeared, and the thousand-faced demon god looked in the direction of the prehistoric era, said nothing, and then disappeared in a flash. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 215. I went to the ancient world to resurrect Yuan Shai. Tongxun also knew that he had gone too far, and he began to regret it in his heart. Then I rushed back to Hongwang, hoping to see what the situation was like at Yuan Shai. But not long after Tongxun returned to the ancient times, he met me who was covered in blood and had a weak breath. Seeing this embarrassed look on my face, Tongxun was furious, and then he quickly asked, "Brother, what's wrong with you? What happened?" "Take the lead. Taiyi and Wu Shen are ambushing your brother. They also want to sneak attack you, the third brother. Leave Hongwang as soon as possible." My weak voice came in, and Tongxun became even more angry after hearing it. Although there is a dispute between the East and the West, a war has never broken out. Now that Ji Yin dares to lead outsiders to sneak attack on me, he really did not put their Eastern saints at ease. In his eyes, now I am even being bullied, which makes Tongxun unbearable. Thinking of this, Tongxun said bluntly, "Brother, don't worry. Third brother will vent your anger for you and kill the three of you." After saying that, Tongxun flew straight to the west, but I raised a silent smile on the corner of my mouth, and then followed Tongxun to the west. In Mount Xumi, Ji Yin was preaching to his disciples at this time. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, after walking in the deep Prajnaparamita for a long time, he saw that the five aggregates are all empty, and he overcame all sufferings. Relics. Form is not different from emptiness, and emptiness is not different from color. Color is emptiness. Emptiness is color. The same is true for feelings, thoughts, and consciousness. Relics. These dharmas are empty, neither born nor destroyed, neither dirty nor pure, neither increasing nor decreasing. That is why it is colorless in the air. No feelings, thoughts, and knowledge, no eyes and ears, nose, tongue, body and mind, colorless sound, fragrance, and touch, no vision, or even unconscious world. There is no ignorance, no end of ignorance, no old age and death, no end of old age and death, no accumulation of suffering and destruction of the path. There is no wisdom and no gain, because there is nothing to gain. Bodhisattva. Because of Prajnaparamita, the mind is unobstructed, because there is no obstacle, there is no fear, and it is far away from upside-down dreams, and it is the final nirvana. The Buddhas of the three generations, according to Prajnaparamita, achieved Anuttara Samyak Therefore, we know that Prajnaparamita is a great divine mantra, a great enlightenment mantra, a supreme mantra, and an infinite mantra, which can eliminate all suffering and is true and true. Therefore, the Prajnaparamita mantra is said to be the mantra, uncover the secret, uncover the secret, paramita, reveal the secret, bodhisattva. When Ji Yin gave his sermon, the sky was filled with flowers and golden lotuses surged from the ground. However, before Ji Yin's sermon ended, for some reason, Maitreya suddenly stood up. The whole person's demeanor changed, as if he was a different person, which made people wonder about Maitreya's behavior. I dared to ask the teacher, "It is said in the world that the Buddha saved people and saved the suffering. I have a question. Did the Buddha save the people who believe in the Buddha first, or the people who do not believe? I wonder if you, the ancestor of the Buddha, can answer this." Maitreya looked directly at the guide, which made countless disciples in the West who were originally listening to the sermon couldn't help but be stunned. "Senior brother, what nonsense are you talking about? How dare you be so disrespectful to the teacher?" "Yes, senior brother, Sit down quickly and don't make the teacher angry. What happened to Maitreya today? Taking the wrong medicine. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm too tired from practicing and my inner demons have entered my body. SHH. Don't say too much. Didn't you see the teacher's face change? When countless disciples in the West saw Ji Yin's expression change, they all closed their mouths, for fear of making Ji Yin unhappy. He looked deeply at Maitreya. Ji Yin wanted to get angry directly, but after thinking about it, he decided after holding back, he replied, "Of course, I will save those who are destined first." "Oh, if you believe in Buddhism, will it increase your fate?" Maitreya asked again. "The reason is destiny, so it can't be done." Only, before he could finish his words, Maitreya interrupted directly, "If you can't, then those who believe in Buddhism will give up their parents, wives and children, visit the Buddha day and night, and practice hard, and in the end they will be like ordinary people, different. Take refuge in my Buddha and achieve enlightenment." It's just nonsense. Isn't it ridiculous? Presumptuous? Be bold. Senior brother Maitreya, are you crazy? Dare to rebuke Ji Yin like this and ruin the Buddhist philosophy taught by Ji Yin. In their eyes, Maitreya is really crazy, and he is quite crazy. Ignoring the Western disciples around him to stop him, Maitreya's face darkened and he continued. He yelled, "You and other high-level Buddhas have received incense and worship from countless people, but you only talk nonsense, are unreasonable, and do not know the world. They are just a group of people with silver spears and wax-headed people. You still want to continue to be worshipped by the world? It's such a beautiful thought. Why don't you get out of Lingshan quickly and take this seat instead?" "Maitreya, you are practicing sophistry and misinterpreting my Buddhist teachings in our holy land of Buddhism, but you are not worthy of being a son of man. I am a Buddhist who saves people with compassion, eliminates all evil, and performs great meritorious deeds to save suffering. These teachers have all said that. Could it be that have you forgotten all about it?" Sunlight Bodhisattva really couldn't stand Maitreya's approach, so he could only step forward to refute. But before he could finish his words, Maitreya just looked at him, and Sunlight Bodhisattva exploded instantly, spraying blood mist between heaven and earth, making countless Western disciples stunned, shocked. How could it be possible that Maitreya could kill Brother Rigyang with just one look? You must know that senior Brother Rigyang has already broken through to the quasi-sage realm. What kind of magic skill has Maitreya practiced? Is he still our kind Brother Maitreya? What happened to him? No, look at senior Brother Maitreya, he seems to be possessed by an evil spirit. As a disciple shouted, everyone also discovered the difference between Maitreya. In the past, Maitreya was kind, but now, Maitreya is rebellious and extremely cruel, so they can easily see the difference between Maitreya and Maitreya. Of course, they can all see it, and naturally Ji Yin has seen it a long time ago. The chill on his face is clearly visible. Ji Yin couldn't help shouting angrily, and then said, "Fellow Taoist Tongxin, you've had enough fun. If you don't live in poverty anymore if it comes out of a Taoist disciple's body, don't blame the poor Taoist men for being ruthless. Ha 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 ha. It seems you are not stupid either. It is really boring." There was a burst of wild laughter, and then, Tongxin's figure appeared opposite Jinian, but in his eyes, bursts of anger could be clearly seen. Regarding Tongxin's anger, Jinian didn't understand why Tongxin suddenly wanted to go to them. "Miss Han is looking for trouble? You know, the saints can't stay in Hongwang for too long. If it weren't for preaching to his disciples, Ji Yin wouldn't come to Hongwang in person. The number of times he comes to Hongwang is very few, and now Tongxin is still rushing. There must be some hidden agenda for coming to my door to stir up trouble at this time." Thinking of this, he then asked bluntly, "Fellow Taoist Tongxin, you and I have no grudges in the past, and we have no grudges in recent days. I don't know why you want to come to stir up trouble. Is there any reason? What reason? Please subscribe. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 216. Ji Yin, why do you ask so knowingly? You know clearly why I came to Mount Sumeru today, and yet you still pretend to be stupid with me. Tongxin sneered, his words revealing a bit of coldness. I don't understand what you mean, Tongxin. Ji Yin was very confused at first, and because he had just been teased by Tongtian, his heart was even more angry. Still pretending to be stupid? Do you really think that since I have no Yuanchai in the Sanqing dynasty, I can do whatever I want, with such a bad intention? Why do you talk about imparting karma and teaching to deceive these idiots on Mount Sumeru? If it weren't for the fact that we all came from the same ancestral sect, in my eyes, your Buddhist sect in Mount Sumeru would not be worth mentioning at all. Tongshan's expression became colder and colder, and he kept making sarcastic remarks. Tongshan, if you are here to provoke, why are you beating around the bush, wasting time, and saying these meaningless words? The anger in Ji Yin's heart roused, and the power of law was operating, obviously making a gesture of being ready to fight with Tongshan Huo at any time. Today I really see how thick-skinned you Western saints are. Tongshan's situation was overwhelming, and he said in a deep voice, you, together with Taiyi and Wushan, ambushed my eldest brother and seriously injured him, but you are still here pretending as if nothing happened. As soon as these words came out, Ji Yin looked horrified. Although it is true that Pine Dao and fellow Taoist Wushan teamed up to stop fellow Taoist Lazy before, they never attacked fellow Taoist Lazy to serious injury, and they never joined forces with Taiyi. If my eldest brother hadn't informed me, I might have been ambushed by you. Are you still making excuses? Tongshan, what is your intention in putting such a big pot on the head of a poor man? Ji Yin defended himself fiercely. Still pretending? How can it be false that my eldest brother is seriously injured now? If you don't give me an explanation today, I will destroy Mount Sumeru in an instant. Let your Lingshan Buddhism no longer have a place. In anger, Tongshan's cultivation suddenly exploded, and the huge momentum and pressure reached the top of Mount Sumeru. Mount Sumeru was vaguely shaken by it, and the Buddhist disciples were even more difficult to withstand this powerful power from the saint. Pressure. Support hard. Pine Dao can't understand what you are saying at all. If you come to provoke and declare war, just say it. Ji Yin waved his big hand, and a breath barrier blocked the disciples of Mount Xumi from the terrifying pressure of the sky. And Ji Yin's anger was completely aroused, and his eyes flashed with fighting intent. Fellow Taoist Tongshan, there has never been a war between the East and the West, and you and I are both disciples of the Taoist ancestors. Don't you want to break this balance today? Ji Yin asked. After hearing that Ji Yin refused to admit it, Tongshan simply stopped arguing with Ji Yin. He was sure that Ji Yin would never admit it easily today. In this case, Tongtian only had one thought left in his mind: beat him until he is convinced. The next moment, the leader of Tongshan cult pointed at Ji Yin with his finger, and with a soft drink in his mouth, several sword shadows condensed by the power of law appeared out of thin air, directly hitting Ji Yin's head. This blow made Ji Yin was shocked and angry at the same time. He didn't expect that Tongshan would take action without hesitation, and even more so with the intention of killing him. Treasure building. In a hurry, Ji Yin hurriedly used the treasure pillar, one of the three treasures, to protect himself above his head, barely blocking the blow. Boom. Several sword shadows shattered, and the remaining power of the explosion spread. Even the Yin Bao building could not completely resist it, so Ji Yin couldn't help but suffer a loss. Tongshan is one of the three pure ones, regardless of his qualifications or cultivation. Zongshan is stronger than Jinyan, so Jinyan is alone, which is really powerless. But now that the matter has come to this, Jinyan naturally cannot give in, not to mention that Tongshan comes with the intention of killing himself, and there is no peace negotiation at all. Room. With a wave of his hand, the seven-star rosary surrounding his wrist flew into the air and was arranged. There was a talisman flashing on each rosary. Subhuti, what do you mean? If a person fills the 7 treasures of the 3,000 great thousand worlds, Zibedes, chaos. The Sanskrit chants loudly, and the Buddha's dust is churning. The 7 spiritual beads burst out with unparalleled power and bombarded through the air. The 7-star rosary can affect the Buddha's dust, and it can bind the entire Dharma with one move, and can trigger everything. Tongshan held a kingping sword and drew through the sky. Countless sword shadows flew away and resolved the power of the bombardment, and still had enough energy to bombard the 7-star rosary beads. Oops, the main body of the 7-star rosary beads was attacked, and Ji Yin immediately suffered a lot of pressure. Those powerful sword shadows came one after another, stretching like surging waves, and the suppressed Ji Yin could only barely parry. No matter it was Taoism or magical power, he is still weaker than Tongshan in Fury pickup. Although we have different views between the East and the West, they have never fought to the death. However, you harbor evil intentions and intend to plot against me. If you are not allowed to surrender today, this matter will never be resolved. Tongshan's suppression at this time was almost powerless to fight back, but the anger in his chest was getting higher and higher. Babel, Pine Dao has never plotted against me, and I don't know what you mean. Pine Dao doesn't want to fight you to the death. Can you please stop here and listen to me? Ji Yin continued to support him. He knew that he was not Tongshan's opponent, who held all kinds of top-grade spiritual treasures and was proficient in various magic formations. Now he has forced himself into such a situation before he even laid out the formation. What if Tongshan used his merciless with the killing array? He has no hope. Even when death is imminent, you are still so stubborn. At this time, Tongshan was filled with anger because I was severely injured, and he didn't take what Ji Yin said seriously. Tongshan was greatly moved. In the vast sky above Mount Sumeru, the prototype of a formation slowly appeared. What formation is this? Ji Yin looked at the magic circle on the sky in horror. This magic circle did not belong to any category he knew at all, but Tongshan had already launched the magic circle, and it was obvious that he would not give up until he was killed. Tongshan, are you crazy? Ji Yin shouted angrily. Hearing this, Tongshan looked coldly at Ji Yin, who was struggling to support himself under the bombardment of sword shadows, and just said a faint sentence. Ji Yin, you are asking for your own death. At the same moment, outside Mount Sumeru, I was already observing the battle between the two with my consciousness, showing a cold smile. Tongshan really has a true temperament. He is so concerned about his eldest brother. Haha, you two should fight first. The more fierce the fight, the better. The battle between Tongshan and Ji Yin immediately caused a sensation among countless powerful people in the ancient world. What exactly does Tongshan want? He had just killed Yuan Chai before, and now he wanted to attack Ji Yin? Is he going to kill all the Xuanmen saints? How could Tongshan be so crazy? This shouldn't be the case. The great masters of the ancient world were talking and marveling, not knowing the reason at all. They only knew that the battle between the two saints was becoming more and more fierce. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 217, Longding Hall. Naturally, the Dragon clan had noticed the fierce battle between Tongshan and Ji Yin early, and when Xialong learned the news, his first reaction was overjoyed. Interesting, it's not enough for Tongshan to kill Yuan Shai, but he also wants to attack Ji Yin. Brother, this is a good thing for us. It's best for Tongshan to kill Ji Yin again. Haha, how can Xialong not be excited? Once the increasingly prosperous Buddhism is suppressed and severely damaged, and its luck is lost, the Dragon clan will naturally benefit from it. Shen Long's face is still calm. He observes the battlefield from the perspective of Ling Bao God. Every fight between the two, it's all in his eyes. At this time, Shen Long couldn't help but feel very confused. He knew that Tongshan did not have the ambition to dominate the ancient world, and I had never allowed him to use radical methods to confront Ji Yin. Why was it so abnormal? What's more, Yuan Chai is dead and the strength of Sanqing has been frustrated. It is really unwise to make enemies at this time. Brother, should we add fuel to the fire? Xialong couldn't hold back his thoughts and couldn't help but suggest, there are many things involved in the Tongshan-Ji Yin war, so there is no need to worry, just wait and see what happens. In addition, the reason why Tongshan takes action against Ji Yin is not yet known. Shen Long shook his head slowly and rejected Xialong's request. This just follow Big Brother's arrangements. Xialong responded, obeying Shen Long's requirements in everything. On the other hand, Ji Yin noticed the magic circle that Tongshan had gradually arranged, and immediately knew that there was no room for reconciliation between the two. Either you die or I die. That's too much. Since you intend to kill Pine Dao will have a good fight with you. Even if you are Sand King, what's the big deal? You are just as powerful as Pine Dao. In anger, Ji Yin's 9-level Saint's cultivation suddenly exploded, and the top quality innate spiritual treasure 7-star rosary on his head was also activated to the extreme. Fortunately, this is in the prehistoric world, and Ji Yin can also use the power of heaven strength. Otherwise, I'm afraid it's really hard to escape. Boom. The terrifying power of the 7-star rosary exploded, and countless flying sword shadows shattered and collapsed in an instant, and could no longer be suppressed. At the same moment, the Buddha on Mount Sumeru, the Buddha in the wilderness, countless creatures are also trembling under this terrifying power. It is not only the power of the Lingbao, but also the power of Ji Yin's cultivation, and even his anger. No matter what, he has made up his mind. Today, we must fight to the death with Tongshan. The poor man can't bear it anymore and decides to decide between life and death. Ji Yin glared angrily, and his breath of anger made Mount Xumi tremble. I am waiting for this moment. Tongtian was extremely angry and laughed back. I must destroy you today, so that countless powerful people in the ancient world will know the majesty of my Xuanmen. The next moment, the formation that emerged in prototype above the sky quickly took shape. The way of heaven is that if you gain something, you must lose something. If you have more losses, you must make up for the deficiencies. The spiritual power between heaven and earth is agitated crazily, and under the drive of Tongshan, it condenses into a series of laws and injects it into the formation to quickly perfect it. Under these dense spiritual powers, the power of the formation begins to take shape, and a steady stream of the Black Death energy emerges and erodes. This formation is the great formation of life and death that even Yuan Shai can kill. As the saying goes, one thought of life, one thought of death, life and death are extinguished, and there is no escape. Surrounded by these dense death energy, even if it has not invaded yet, when he reached Ji Yin's body, he could find that his aura and magical powers were greatly suppressed. This formation is the one that can kill even Yuan Shi. Ji Yin was very vigilant. He had learned from Yuan Shi's past experience, so naturally he did not dare to trust Da green lotus color flag. Ji Yin picked up the letter, and a large cyan flag embroidered with strange patterns appeared in his hand. This innate 5-directional flag is one of the few powerful spiritual treasures in Ji Yin's hand, and it is said that Ji Yin contains an innate relic. Sun, the guardian, is unparalleled. When it is used, it can attract the breath of chaos from outside to protect it, which is difficult to break. The green lotus color flag is used, and the white breath of chaos lingers around the body. And supplemented by the brilliance of the young man's Baosaki, finally blocked out the ever-eroding death energy. The almost suffocating pressure of the death energy was lifted, and Ji Yin breathed a sigh of relief. Unknown to Ji Yin, his caution let him avoid repeating the mistakes of Yuan Shai. This life and death formation can absorb all attack energy and gradually strengthen and improve it. If he accepts a desperate attack from the beginning, it will only speed up the completion of the formation and force himself to death. Now at least he can make himself safe for the time being in the great formation of life and death. Take the lead, either surrender and obey my arrangements, or choose to die. Outside the formation, Tongshan clasped his hands behind his back and stared at the ladder coldly. In his opinion, the lead at this time was already in his pocket. Pine Dao has never done what you said, so there is no fault. Ji Yin was furious, but he discovered that although he could withstand the erosion of the death energy, the Buddha on Mount Sumeru would only die if he came into contact with the death energy. This formation of life and death was so huge that it almost covered the entire Mount Sumeru. Among them, no Buddhist disciple in the mountain can escape the intrusion of the formation. Damn it! Ji Yin filled his pupils with blood. These Buddhist disciples on Mount Xumi are the foundation and core disciples of the Western sect. If they are all killed, the Western sect will be completely destroyed. In desperation, Ji Yin decided to save these Buddhist disciples on Mount Sumeru, and in order to prevent himself from being wasted to death, he had to forcibly extract the power of the soul and strengthen the 7-star rosary. The secret method of consuming the original soul in this way was a last resort, But if he did not break the life and death formation instantly with one blow, he would. Any attack on a combination is not a combination, it is a combination. Those who are in conjunction with each other are indescribable. Lingzu, fall. Under the continuous infusion of the power of the soul, the power of the seven-star rosary, which was originally the best innate spiritual treasure, skyrocketed, and it even shook the life and death formation. The seven-star rosary was arranged in the shape of the Big Dipper formation. The talismans on each rosary bead are facing the eye of the formation. With the blessing of every ray of soul power, the power of the rosary increases crazily. Although the formation of life and death can kill saints, but it is not invincible. At first, Yuanshai did not take the power of the formation to heart, so he gradually dragged himself into the quagmire. If Yuanshai had gone all out from the beginning, like Ji Yin, he would have to forcefully break the formation even if he burned the power of his soul. Then he might not die in the great formation of life and death. It was just that Yuanshai believed from the beginning that Tongshan did not dare to kill him, so he put himself to death. Under Ji Yin's desperate struggle, the seven-star rosary showed its power. Each Buddhist bead bursts out with violent power, tearing apart the layers of space and blasting towards it, heading straight for the formation's eye. Boom! With one blow, even Tongshan was shocked. There was a flaw in the great formation of life and death. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 218. The death energy flowed backwards, and the formation eye of the life and death formation received such a powerful blow that it began to gradually collapse. The dense death energy gradually dissipated, and the formation was already on the verge of collapse, and could no longer trap Ji Yin. This was far beyond Tongshan's expectation, even though he frantically instilled spiritual power to maintain the formation. But the formation eye of the life and death formation has been completely shattered. The collapse of the formation is irreversible, and all his efforts are in vain. This attack from Ji Yin even consumed his own soul power, a pure self-sacrifice attack. If a saint burns his soul power to increase his attack, the power contained in it will be multiplied several times, not to mention that the lead is still the 9th level of the saint. Of course, the consequences of such a powerful increase are also very scary. That is, the power of the soul will weaken. If you are not careful, you will fall into the realm. In severe cases, it may even cause the innate heel and foot qualifications to decline. If it weren't for the 12-grade golden lotus of merit in his hand that could warm and restore his soul, it would be difficult for Ji Yin to bear the consequences. Don't think that this poor person can be easily killed by you. At this time, Ji Yin could clearly feel that his spirit was weakening, but he was still acting fierce and inwardly. Ji Yin waved his hand, and Ji Yin's heavenly pillar emerged from the void, striking hard at the life and death that was already on the verge of collapse. Grand formation stop. Seeing this, Tongshan quickly used the Kingping sword to slash out dozens of sword shadows to block the heavenly pillar. The heavenly pillar, which contained the full strength of the heavenly pillar, contained terrifying power, strong pressure and endless waves. Kingping's swords and shadows collide. Boom. In an instant, a violent and astonishing power erupted, instantly tearing Kingping's sword shadow to pieces, and the power of Tanzu was also offset. What's even more terrifying is that the scattered residual power swept around like a flood. The formation of life and death was torn to pieces in an instant. The endless death energy between heaven and earth was completely dissipated, and Ji Yin was finally able to escape from the formation. Although he paid an extremely heavy price for this, at least he escaped one death with a give and take. Seeing that the great formation of life and death was broken, Tongshan felt somewhat upset. Snort. It's just a mere formation, just trying to subdue a poor man, it's just a whim. Ji Yin sneered, but his laughter stopped abruptly the next moment. I saw the remaining power of the collapsed life and death formation fluctuating, and almost half of it poured onto Mount Sumeru, causing great damage to Mount Sumeru. Not only that, most of the believers in Mount Xumi suffered heavy casualties, and among them were many core disciples of Western religions. Although these disciples are very powerful, they have not yet matured. How can they withstand the residual power of the saints' fight? Ji Yin was heartbroken, but Tongshan didn't give him any time to breathe. Purple electric hammer. Tongshan raised his hands high, and a huge and powerful ancient war hammer appeared in his hands, and he smashed it down on Ji Yin's head with the power to destroy all things. At this time, Ji Yin could not care about anything else, and he quickly sacrificed his 12 levels of merit. The golden lotus resists. If it is hit by this innate spiritual treasure, even if it does not collapse to death on the spot, the real body will be seriously damaged. In an instant, countless lotus leaf petals transformed from the merit golden lotus, sweeping across the sky to block the purple that was struck head-on. Electric hammer. The violent purple electric hammer continuously smashes the petals and lotus leaves in the way. When each lotus leaf is destroyed, an astonishing residual power will be released. Unfortunately, Mount Sumeru is the first to bear the brunt. Mount Sumeru is the foundation of Western religion. He was afraid that the battle would be too fierce and cause irreparable damage to Mount Sumeru, but Tongshan, who was completely blinded by anger, didn't care at all. Every blow of the purple electric hammer in his hand exploded with heaven-destroying power, spreading like wildfire. The remaining power became more powerful with each wave, causing Mount Xumi to be riddled with holes. Tongshan, enough is enough. Ji Yin looked at the continuously crumbling Mount Sumeru, feeling shocked and angry. Nonsense. You want to kill me and my eldest brother, but you want me to stop? Unless you are completely killed, I will never hold back. Tongshan ignored the guidance at all, and instead instilled even greater spiritual power into the purple electric hammer, hammering it down with even more astonishing power. Damn it, Ji Yin cursed in great annoyance, but he couldn't care about anything else at this time, and had to push the 12-grade merit golden lotus with all his strength to resist. In an instant, there were many lotus shadows on the sky, and thousands of flowers were stacked on top of each other. In this overlapping guard, above the barrier, the purple electric hammer fell heavily, and the two forces blended together and exploded. Boom! The numerous lotus shadows were instantly destroyed, and the fierce and manic power surged. The bombardment made Tongshan and Ji Yin unable to resist at the same time, and they fell back continuously. Although both of them protected themselves in time and were not seriously injured, Mount Xumi could no longer withstand this series of attacks. The destructive bombardment suddenly collapsed. Wow! The towering Mount Sumeru gradually collapsed from the middle of the mountain, and the top of the mountain slipped and collapsed. Countless geniuses and treasures that absorbed the spiritual power of heaven and earth and grew on Mount Sumeru were all destroyed at this moment. Teacher, please save our disciples. Countless disciples on Mount Xumi were in despair. They suffered numerous casualties under the bombardment of the remaining power, and were helpless. And when Ji Yin looked at the collapsed Mount Sumeru, his heart ached as if he was bleeding. This Mount Sumeru is the foundation of his Western religion. The foundation of Western sect rests on this. At the moment when Mount Sumeru collapsed, he could already sense that the fate of Western sect was rapidly losing. The destruction of Mount Sumeru was such a huge blow to Western religion that it may take tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years to recover. Tongshan, you came to provoke me without any reason and destroyed Mount Xumi. Do you really think that poor Taoists are easy to bully? Since you want to kill every fish and break the net, I will not stop until I kill you today. The anger rose, and Ji Yin was determined to kill Tongshan at this moment. Ridiculous. Tongshan was dismissive. He and Ji Yin were both 9th level saints, but he had countless powerful killing formations in his hands. How could he possibly kill him? Ji Yin sneered, and he naturally knew what Tongshan was thinking. He saw with a wave of his hand, Ji Yin sent a communication talisman flying out of the sky. This communication talisman was delivered to Wu Shen by Ji Yin, inviting him to help him. After all, the two are allies, and I believe Wu Shen will not just sit idly by and watch. Just as he finished all this, Wu Shen's voice suddenly came from above the broken sky of Mount Sumeru. Dear fellow Taoist, what happened? Why is Mount Xumi in such a state of decline? The next moment, the void shattered. Wu Shen stepped out of the void, and looked at the half-collapsed Mount Sumeru in surprise. Fellow Taoist Wu Shen, Tongshan deceives people too much, and vows to fight Pindao until death, but I have no choice but to call you here to help. After this time, I would like to owe you a lot of karma, and I hope you can help me, Ji Yin said coldly. At this time, his anger because of the destruction of Mount Xumi has not dissipated. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 219. Needless to say, it is enough to make Wu Shen's heart flutter if he can let Ji Yin form a cause and effect about him. Fellow Taoist guide, please rest assured, if Tongshan destroys the foundation of your Western religion, you are so aggressive, and I will help you. Wu Shen agreed without hesitation. Naturally, he couldn't miss such a great opportunity. Anyway, they already had a grudge with Sanqing, so they didn't care about adding another one now. The two of them worked together to besiege Tongshan, and the chance of victory was self-evident. Wu Shen, it's a good time for you to come. I won't waste my time looking for you personally. Today I'll take care of it with you. When he saw Wu Tian, Tong Tian thought that he had a role in besieging me, and his anger became even higher. Although Tong Tian knew that there was no chance of winning with 1 against 2, at this time he was blinded by anger and only wanted to fight with these two. Let's fight. Thinking of this, Tongshan suddenly swung the purple electric hammer, carrying the violent power of thunder, and hit the two head-on. Arrogant. Even I don't dare to fight with me easily. Wu Shen didn't expect that Tongshan would be so crazy. He immediately took action with Ji Yin and received the blow of the purple electric hammer at the same time. Crack! The remaining power and thunder arcs spread, and along with the undissipated wind pressure, they bombarded the earth, causing all the mountains in the area to collapse and cut off the rivers. As a result, all the creatures in the area were instantly turned into powder. Wu Shen and the incoming power of the general was deflected away, but the creatures on the ancient land were affected. Fellow Taoist leader, you and I should kill him as soon as possible. Don't give him any chance. The god-killing spear loomed in Wu Shen's hand, and Ji Yin also summoned the 7-star rosary and the Ji Yin Tanzu array, and took action at the same time. Under the relentless attack of the two, no matter how angry Tong Tanrao was, he had no choice but to. He backed away from its sharp edge and used the purple electric hammer to barely parry. The two saints took action at the same time. Wu Shen even had a cultivation level 2 levels higher than Tongshan. Tongshan, who was directly suppressed, had no power to fight back. He was holding a purple electric hammer before. Hammer's aggressive suppression of Tongshan, who was bombarded crazily by Ji Yin, had to turn to defense to barely support him. In order to kill Tong Tian as quickly as possible, Wu Tian Ji Yin almost every blow carried the power of destroying the heaven and the earth, leaving no room for anything. Not only the sky is too strong to withstand it, even causing the originally barren and barren land in the west to be broken into pieces and riddled with holes. There are countless lives lost and injured. It's too much. Tongshan was so suppressed that the anger in his heart became more and more intense, and he forcibly broke out to force the two of them to retreat. This explosion was almost full force, and even if Wu Shen and Ji Yin attacked at the same time, they had to avoid its edge. Heartlock. Taking this opportunity, Tongshan sacrificed the heart-piercing lock, and saw a long lock hanging on his neck immediately soaring into the sky, and his spiritual power surged. This heart-piercing lock is Tongshan's accompanying spiritual treasure. Level it is also the best. It looks like a longevity lock, with heavenly inscriptions engraved on both sides. It can also use the power of heaven to exert its power. In addition, this treasure is extremely ruthless. After it is used, it can cast 9 black jade chains at the same time. Once the person is hit, when the true body is bound, the 3 souls and 7 souls will be locked tightly, unable to break free, and can only be at the mercy of the caster. Although this treasure of heaven is rarely used, once it is used, its ruthlessness is enough to make the enemy tremble. Horrified, all 3 flowers are destroyed, souls are sealed, and those who are unable to escape are all trapped beasts with no way to escape. Go. Tongshan's mind was greatly moved, and then, Under the heart-piercing lock above the sky, 9 surrounding black jade chains suddenly shot out, directly reaching Wu Xinjian. The power of the heart-piercing lock can be found in Wu Xinjian from what I heard. If they were accidentally attacked, I'm afraid they would have no choice but to be slaughtered by Tongshan. Get out of the way quickly. Wu Xin seemed to be fighting 9 black giant snakes, dodging one after another, and at the same time destroying the chains one by one with the god-killing spear in his hand. Ji Yin, on the other hand, relied on the sky pillar to withstand several attacks from the black jade chains, and in the end he even recklessly inspired the 7-star rosary to bombard him wildly. Come on, let me help you. Tongshan's voice sounded, and then he saw the Kingping sword in his hand slashing one after another, and countless sword blades suppressed it, which made the latter even more distressed. Destroyed. Although Phoenix and Qilin was caught off guard, Wu Xin and Ji Yin gradually stabilized and counterattacked one after another, completely suppressing Phoenix and Qilin. Soon, Tongshan felt more and more powerless, and even had to give up the offensive and turned to defensive. At this point, Tong Kai realized that it was really reckless to attack both of them at the same time, but now he had no choice. Break. After completely suppressing the 9 black jade chains, Wu Xin suddenly threw the god-killing spear into the air, and instantly turned into a rain of demonic energy and guns, pouring down. The heart-piercing lock became more powerful after the black jade chains were destroyed. Under the bombardment of the successive rains of demonic energy guns, the heart-piercing lock completely lost its brilliance and fell from the midair. Tongshan waved his big hand and retracted the heart-piercing lock, but the next moment he had to forcefully resist the demon that fell from the sky. Airsoft rain crack. Under the bombardment of gunfire, Tongshan has no possibility of counterattack at all, and can only barely parry. The 2 saints' joint siege is no joke. At this time, Ji Yin also launched the 7-star rosary beads to sweep across, further forcing Tongshan. Tongshan, you have no choice, either surrender and let us suffer, or die. Ji Yin was extremely happy when he saw this, and his bad breath was finally relieved. But Tongshan was too busy with defense at this time to respond to Ji Yin. There is no need to talk nonsense. If Tongshan dares to challenge you and me, he is prepared to die. Anyway, Sanqing has died for you on Shai, and one more Tongshan will be just right. A hint of murderous intent flashed in Wu Xin's eyes. He did not want to beg for mercy. He would be absolutely happy to kill him. By then, only Lao Tzu will be left in the Sanqing dynasty, which is exactly what he wants. At the same time, the 3 saints in the west. The life and death fight between the 3 saints immediately attracted the attention of countless powerful people in the prehistoric era. After all, the earth-shaking battle was too eye-catching. The 3 saints' life and death fights were all aimed at killing each other. This kind of war it's really hard to see in the wilderness. Alas, from now on, I will be the only one left in the Sanqing dynasty. Tongshan is really crazy. He dares to challenge 2 saints by himself. But that's all. It's really strange. Why didn't I take action together to help Tongshan? Yes, if I also participate in the war, I'm afraid it's really unclear how the battle will turn out. Almost no one knew that outside Mount Sumeru, I was watching them fighting with great excitement and murmuring to myself from time to time, where did all this nonsense come from? Just kill him as soon as possible. What are you doing to waste so much time? Hey, it would be great if Tongshan could die with one of them before being killed. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 220. When I saw Tongshan being driven to a dead end, I felt really itchy. It seemed that he was eager to see Tongshan killed right away. However, at this moment, I suddenly noticed that a ray of perception was spying on him. At first, he didn't take this perception seriously, but in the next moment, he suddenly realized that this perception completely penetrated him. Who is it? With an inexplicable panic in my heart, I suddenly shouted and unfolded my consciousness to explore the mysterious perception. However, at this moment, the perception disappeared inexplicably, leaving no trace, as if it had never existed. He was puzzled, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't find any trace. He even wondered if he was delusional. How could this be an illusion? I felt a little uneasy in my heart. The feeling of being instantly seen through was so profound. Longding Hall. Shen Long slowly opened his eyes, and the seven-color brilliance in his eyes gradually receded. Just now, when the three saints were fighting fiercely to the death, Shen Long activated his spiritual consciousness to explore, but found a deliberately obscure aura outside Mount Sumeru. If it were anyone else, even a saint might not be able to sense this hidden aura, but he could not escape Shen Long's consciousness. When Shen Long peered in with his true eyes, he saw everything in an instant. The moment Shen Long saw through it and thought of Tongshen's abnormal behavior, he vaguely guessed the reason. It seems that there are clues in it, and Tongshen has been deceived. Shen Long frowned slightly and blurted out, as if talking to himself, "Brother, what did you say?" Tongshen was deceived. Zilong on the side didn't understand what he meant and asked. Shen Long did not explain in detail, but said lightly, "First wait and see what happens. Don't rush for a while." At this moment, Tongshen's countless magic weapons were used up, but not only failed to restore its decline, but it was suppressed even more and more without any room. From Wu Tianjiyin's point of view, Tongtian was at the end of his life at this time and was no different from a dead person. When a saint dies, he will feed the way of heaven and all living beings will benefit. Killing you today can be considered beneficial to heaven. I wonder if it can be considered a meritorious deed? Wu Shen looked at the helpless Tongshen coldly and said sarcastically, "From now on, only lazy will be left among the three pure ones, and Xuanmen will also decline greatly." Ji Yin is naturally happy to see this. If the Western sect can take this opportunity to enter the East and obtain a large area of Eastern spiritual veins, the sect's strength will definitely increase greatly and its luck will rise. Don't you think that I will just surrender? At this moment, Tongshen, who had been suppressed, finally responded. Although Tongshen was in a desperate situation, there was no despair in his expression. Instead, he had a cold smile. It was as if he was mocking them. Generally, when death is imminent, what else can you say? This time it is your turn as the second fallen saint in the ancient world. Wu Shen waved the god-killing spear and was about to use it to penetrate Tongshen's head. However, at this moment, his expression suddenly changed. On that ancient land, the spread was endless, and the aura of the magic that shook people's hearts was the prototype of the array gradually emerged. When this array appeared, 4 powerful pressures came from the southeast, northwest, and madly absorbed the spiritual power of heaven and earth to complete the array. What is even more frightening is that the array only appeared in its rudiment. Wu Shen and Ji Yin immediately noticed that their cultivation was gradually stagnating. Therefore, the Tao is great, the sky is great, the earth is great, and the king is also great. There are 4 major ones in the domain, and the king occupies one of them. Man follows the earth follows heaven, heaven follows Tao, and Tao follows nature. Tongshen used his mind to pull the magic circle, and saw countless sword shadows condensed in the magic circle flying towards him, forcing Wu Shen back to lead him, thus breaking the siege. When was this array set up? Wu Shen was extremely angry. The formation was already formed. Even if the formation was still in its infancy, he could not destroy it. What's more, the power of this formation seemed to be extremely strong and could not be broken easily at all. Heartlock. What a good plan. Ji Yin gritted his teeth, and then he thought that when Tongshen used the heart-piercing lock to contain them, he took the opportunity to set up this great formation. Only then did I realize that it was already too late. Tongshen sneered. Ridiculous. Do you think you can save yourself by counting on this mere magic circle? Wu Shen sneered. In his opinion, the two of them have the absolute upper hand. One magic circle cannot reverse the situation. What's more, powerful magic circles have great limitations when used. Tongshen is alone, and he can't arrange it even if he wants to. Such a powerful formation. Tongshen sneered and did not explain. Instead, he directly activated the formation with all its strength. At this moment, 4 phantoms of fairy swords appeared in the southeast, northwest, and even more appeared on the sky within the scope of the formation. There were countless flashes of sword light, flying through the air like meteors. Immortal killing formation? The moment they saw the perfect formation, Wu Shen and Jiyan were both shocked. Tongshan obviously no longer had the four swords of Zuxian in his hand. How could he possibly arrange the Zuxian array? No, this immortal killing formation is not complete, nor is it full of power. Wu Shen soon realized something was wrong. Not only was the pressure of the Zuxian array weakened by 70 to 80%, but even the four Zuxian swords that stood in the southeast, northwest, and northwest of the array were nothing more than phantoms condensed by the power of law. Not to mention the killing power that can affect the power of heaven does not exist in this immortal killing formation at all. I see. Wu Shen soon understood that this time it was just a simplified version of the Zuxian array arranged by Tongshan according to the layout of the array, using the power of law to transform and replace the four swords of Zuxian. It has to be said that the array formation attainments of the leader Tongshan are indeed it's amazing that it can be arranged in this way without the help of the four swords of Zuxian. Wu Shen and Jiyan felt a little relieved. As long as it is not a truly perfect Zuxian formation, they don't have to worry too much. Is this also worthy of being called the Zuxian formation? It's just an appearance. Wu Shen is extremely disdainful, even if it's just superficial. Both of them are enough to deal with you. Tongshan was also very upset. If he could arrange the most authentic immortal killing formation, he would sacrifice it from the very beginning. How could there be so much trouble? Start the formation. Without a moment's delay, Tongshan activated this simplified version of the immortal killing formation. In an instant, the shadow of the sword flashed rapidly in the sky, sweeping through the formation like a storm. Clang! Wu Shen forcibly broke through several flying sword shadows, but the power of the explosion was beyond his expectation, and he was swallowed up instantly. What's even more frightening is that this formation covers a huge area, and even the ancient land was also deeply affected. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 221. Boom. Under the influence of the sword formation, the western land collapsed layer by layer, floods raged, and countless lives were destroyed. What's even more terrifying is that Wu Shen and Jiyan also responded with all their strength. The three saints all used their full strength to create a terrifying aftereffects, wrathfully destroying the ancient land. No one can stop it. Who will save us? It can be said that it is a battle between saints, and mortals suffer. The living beings have nowhere to escape, and they can only perish in tens of millions. Even if they are lucky enough to escape the bombardment of the residual power, they will not be able to escape the natural disaster of the Earth's collapse. The extent of damage to the prehistoric world is no longer limited to the West. The collapse of the Earth has even begun to spread to the East, causing an uproar among the saints in the East. This is no longer just a private grudge between Jiyan and Tongtian, but a matter of life and death in the wild. The three saints, who are almost at the peak level, are going all out. If they are allowed to continue fighting like this, the ancient land will collapse, and countless living beings will suffer annihilation. But despite this, the powerful men from all sides were hesitant and timid. The three Tongshan people are almost the top saints in the prehistoric world. With their cultivation, I am afraid they will be killed by these three red-eyed saints before they can dissuade them. But at this moment, the color of the sky changed, the sun, moon and stars shook, and countless meteors fell from the sky. Obviously, Dandao has also been greatly affected. The foundation of the way of heaven is the prehistoric era. A large number of spiritual veins were damaged in the prehistoric era. The destruction of a large number of living creatures led to a great decline in luck, and the way of heaven was naturally damaged. If they don't stop them, I'm afraid Han Wang will really be destroyed. The great masters have truly noticed that the luck in the ancient world is declining, and the spiritual power in the world is also gradually declining. All the powerful people in the ancient world focus their attention on the Dragon Court in the Boundless Sea. Besides Shen Long, who in the ancient world had the ability and kindness to stop the three saints, they all hoped that Shen Long would take action to save the ancient world from disaster. But the Dragon Clan in the Infinite Four Seas remained stable and showed no signs of taking action. Without anyone to stop them, the three saints fought more and more fiercely, and the area affected by the Immortal killing formation became wider and wider. I'm afraid this is really the end of a great disaster. Countless creatures are in despair. In chaos. My breath is weak. I have many serious injuries on my body. My body protecting spiritual treasure Tai-Kai-2 spiritual power has also been lost a lot, and my brilliance has become dim. Under the joint siege of the Night Demon and the Illusion Demon, I had no room for counterattack. I was almost passively being beaten, barely holding on, and in this chaos, the spiritual power I can draw is extremely limited. Sooner or later, Tai-Kai-2 will run out of spiritual power, and then he will have no choice but to die. I tried several times to teleport away under the protection of Tai-Kai-2, but the Night Demon and the Illusion Demon saw through and blocked me. I am very anxious in my heart. He knows that consuming it like this is definitely not an option. At the same time, I am worried that the thousand-faced demon god will cause havoc in the wild. Lao Tzu, don't waste your efforts and fall into the hands of the two of us. There is no way you can escape today. The Dark Night Demon looked at me jokingly as he struggled with the trapped beast. In his eyes, I was no different from death. But you can rest assured. If you are willing, we can be merciful and take your body back to the primitive world. Ha 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 ha. The demon god of illusion laughed unscrupulously. Arrogant. My anger rose, and I suddenly sacrificed the Xuan Huang exquisite tower of heaven and earth, and used my little remaining spiritual power to forcefully activate it. Buzz. The Xuan Huang exquisite tower of heaven and earth flew up from my hands. It was only as big as a palm at first and quickly grew to be as huge as a mountain in the blink of an eye. The pagoda fluctuated with Xuan Huang Qi, suppressing the Night Demon and the illusion with undue force. Demon God. Seeing this scene, the two demon gods smiled sinisterly. It seemed that I was so angry with them that I was so distracted that I even tried to attack. The illusion demon god used his chaos gaze and exploded the power in it to bombard him. The black and yellow exquisite tower of heaven and earth, and the dark night demon god also resisted with the blood flame heavenly halberd. Together, they shook the black and yellow exquisite tower of heaven and earth. While counterattacking, the demon god of illusion still did not forget to lay down a barrier to prevent me from taking the opportunity to leave. Boom. At the moment when the Xuan Huang tower of heaven and earth erupted, the two powers from the illusion demon god and the night demon god bombarded and exploded with each other, sweeping across the endless void. Although the Xuan Huang exquisite tower of heaven and earth is a treasure of merit, and I control it personally, the power is tyrannical, but he has no choice but to face the combined force of two demon gods at the same time, and it is really difficult for the Xuan Huang exquisite tower of heaven and earth to suppress him. Why are you still struggling to the death? The demon god of illusion and the demon god of night worked together to gradually suppress the Xuan Huang Qi on the Ling Long tower, but even so, the Xuan Huang Qi never went out, and even almost started to gain momentum, causing great trouble for the two. Chaos Fantasy. The demon god of illusion used the chaos gaze to create a realm of nothingness in this boundless chaotic area, using this to devour the little spiritual power left in the Xuan Huang exquisite tower of heaven and earth. No matter how powerful the Xuan Huang exquisite tower of heaven and earth is, it was difficult to continue to maintain it in this situation. The spiritual power and Xuan Huang Qi were lost together, and finally lost its power completely. I saw that the Xuan Huang exquisite tower in the sky was once again only the size of a palm, falling from the midair. Come to death. The dark night demon god waved the blood flame heavenly halberd arrogantly, and was about to pursue the victory, but to his surprise, I did not run away as he imagined. Taking the Xuan Huang exquisite tower of heaven and earth into his hands, I saw that I had eyes tightened, closed. There were several bloody heavenly inscriptions floating around his body. Not only that, on the Tai Kai diagram sheltered in front of him, the two chi of yin and yang twisted crazily, and a huge and astonishing coercion swept all around. In the chaos, what was originally the thin and almost inaudible spiritual power was absorbed into my body crazily. The demon god of illusion and the demon god of night retreated at the same time, looking at each other in horror. I am squeezing the limits of my cultivation and exploding the yin and yang energy in my body. The two chi of yin and yang are the foundation for the survival of all things. Triggering the two chi of yin and yang can allow me to explode with extremely terrifying power in this desperate situation, but the price is that the harmony of yin and yang in my body will be severely damaged, and it will be extremely difficult to recover in a short period of time. If you are not careful, it may even cause your realm to regress. Even if he regresses to the fifth heaven realm, it is not surprising. What's even more frightening is that the magic power operating in the saint's body is very huge. If there is no check and balance between yin and yang, the spiritual power will explode and die if the spiritual power is slightly out of control. If I am lucky, he may be able to gain a chance of survival through this, but if his luck is a little worse, I am afraid that after forcing the yin and yang chi to explode, he will immediately self-destruct due to the imbalance of spiritual power. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 222. But in a life and death situation, I have no choice but to gamble my life or die. You are crazy, the demon god of illusion shouted sharply, and he finally understood why I had desperately counterattacked just now. It was not that I lost my mind in anger at all, but to buy time for myself to activate the yin and yang chi, a mere ant from ancient times, actually so crazy. The dark night demon had stayed away from me as soon as possible and cursed in anger. No matter whether I am lucky enough to survive or die after the explosion of yin and yang energy, these bursts of yin and yang energy are really dangerous. So he has to guard against them. Are the 3,000 chaos demon gods so cowardly as rats, greedy for life and afraid of death? From this point of view, there is nothing to be afraid of. I laughed loudly, and my words were full of indifference and ridicule. The legendary 3,000 chaos demon gods are unattainable and terrifying, but if they are like all living beings in the ancient world, they will seek advantages and avoid disadvantages, and value life and death. There is nothing to fear. Being afraid of life and death means that they cannot transcend life and death. Man follows heaven, heaven follows earth follows Tao, Tao follows nature, and things are mixed together to form the innate world. Lonely and lonely, independent and unchanging, traveling without peril. How hard it is to live. In a desperate move, I activated the talismans floating around me, and saw those bloody talismans suddenly shattered. Boom. At this moment, like a flood, the unstoppable huge yin and yang chi exploded and swept across. The power of this yin and yang chi was terrifying, far beyond the imagination of the demon god of illusion and the night demon god. The pressure instantly overwhelmed everyone. They were bombarded and flew upside down, and even had to use spiritual treasures to protect themselves. Damn it! The demon god of illusion's eyes were bursting with tears. He watched helplessly as the barrier formed by the chaos eyes was shattered, which greatly frustrated his spiritual treasure. As a saint of the 10th heaven, the two chi of yin and yang contained in my body are so huge, it's unimaginable, and the power that exploded was also terrifying. This power swept through for an unknown period of time before it finally subsided. The demon god of illusion and the demon god of night appeared in a panic, and their first reaction was to look for me. No matter what, at this time, there is no longer any strength to fight. But when they came to the chaotic area, they found that I had disappeared long ago. Even the broken body of the real body and the remnant soul of the soul no longer existed. How is this going? Even if he was lucky enough to survive and escape, he wouldn't be able to escape this far. The illusion demon god used his spiritual consciousness to search a wide area, and even used chaos gaze to check, but there was no trace of me. The night demon god frowned. Maybe I have exploded and died, and my soul and body have been completely turned into powder, no longer remains in the world. If that's the case, then I'd be relieved. The demon god of illusion's expression was a little solemn, although he also believed that the possibility of my being killed by the explosion was extremely high. He wouldn't be able to leave even the slightest trace like this, right? The explosion of the saint's body is unusual, and there is nothing strange about it if there is not even a trace left. It's just a pity. If I could get my complete body, It would be a big gain. The night demon shook his head, feeling very sorry. Although the demon god of illusion was dubious, but the situation was like this. He could only choose to believe that I was killed by the explosion. After all, the yin and yang qi in my body are out of balance. If he forcibly uses Taoism to escape, it will definitely cause spiritual disorder and cause his body to explode. Let the prehistoric world be left to the thousand-faced demon god. Even if he is alone, those saints in the prehistoric world will not be worried at all. The two of them are still very relieved about the thousand-faced demon god. As the most deceitful and disguised among the chaos demon gods, he alone is enough to provoke civil strife among all the saints in the ancient world. The illusion demon god and the night demon god left just like that, but they didn't know it. At this time, I, who had escaped the disaster, was flying with all his strength, rushing back to the primitive world. Although the yin and yang qi in his body were out of balance, with the help of the checks and balances of the Tai Chi diagram, he did not explode and die. But even so, my cultivation base is close to empty, and I don't have any ability to fight anymore except running away. The thousand-faced demon god should have entered the wild world by now. I hope it's not too late yet. Thinking of this, I became extremely anxious. At this moment, on the broken Mount Sumeru, the battle between the three saints has also entered a fever pitch. Although Tangshan used the Immortal killing formation, its power was not ideal, and the formation was now on the verge of collapse. But even so, Tangshan still tried his best to maintain the formation, and even did not hesitate to expand the scope of the formation to absorb more spiritual power from the ancient world. At this time, the war between the three saints has completely spread to the east, affecting countless spiritual veins, and even the boundless seas have suffered a lot. In the Longting Hall, Shen Long frowned slightly as he looked at the ancient land that was constantly being destroyed and the large number of annihilated creatures. The fighting between these three saints cannot stop at this time. If they are allowed to continue like this, it will be a matter of time before the ancient world is destroyed. Although Shen Long had no intention of getting involved in the personal feud between Tangshan and Jiyan, he could not sit back and watch the destruction of the world. The foundation of the Dragon Clan is in the ancient times. If the ancient times were destroyed, the Dragon Clan would cease to exist. Second brother, it's time. It would be fine if they just fight for a while, but if they want to destroy Hongwang, you should know what to do. Shen Long said lightly. Brother, can we take action? Zilong suddenly became energetic after hearing these words. Go and meet them. A meaningful expression appeared at the corner of Shen Long's mouth, and he flew out of the boundless seas in an instant, with Zilong following closely behind. At the same time, countless members of the Dragon Clan also began to set out, gradually repairing the damaged boundless seas. At this moment, while Tangshan was racking his brains to think about how to further strengthen the magic circle, Wushan had already broken free from the shackles of the magic circle, raised his god-killing spear and stabbed him head-on. Babel, come to death. Wushan was furious. Even though they were 2 against 1, he still failed to win. He was even hindered by the magic circle for a long time, which almost made him lose face. At this moment, Wushan just wanted to kill Tangshan quickly, not only just to get the cause and effect promised, but also to vent the anger in my heart. Kingping sword. Tangshan didn't expect that Wushan would find a flaw in the formation and rush out. He was caught off guard and immediately used the countless sword shadows of Kingping sword to protect himself. Boom. Even though Tangshan reacted in time, he was unable to completely neutralize the power of the god-killing spear. He was instantly bombarded and flew backwards, and then hit hard on the ancient land. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 223. Wow. The irreducible residual power spread, and another stretch of mountains suddenly collapsed, and the earth's veins shook. Come to death. Wushan succeeded in the attack, and in pursuit of the victory, he suddenly threw the god-killing spear and stabbed it towards the place where Tangshan fell. This blow, just the strong wind pressure, had already caused the earth to gradually collapse. If the saint was there, if you are unprepared, You will definitely die if you are hit by a concentrated blow. Boom. The earth was instantly blasted out of an abyss, which was bottomless. The god-killing spear that shattered the earth returned to Wu Shen's hands. He looked coldly at the bottomless abyss, but it didn't go as he expected. He saw Tongshen's corpse. At this time, in the Zuxian formation that was riddled with holes and on the verge of collapse, the void shattered, and the embarrassed Tongshen fell out of the cracks in the space. Even though Tongshen used his magic at the critical moment, the Bao Pokon Kai tore apart the space and escaped, but he was still a step too late and was affected by the power of the god-killing spear. But before he could calm down the raging spiritual power and injuries in his body, he was trapped in the formation. Lead seized the opportunity, used the 7-star rosary to set up a blockade, and attack him fiercely. Bind Dao was going to look for you, but you came to the door yourself. Ji Yin was already beaten up in their big formation and was dizzy. He was holding back his anger. Now he bumped into Tong Tian and sent him up on his own initiative. Naturally, he couldn't easily let go of this opportunity. Tong Tian almost vomited blood. It was really leaking. It rained all night. Yushu, he had to make the Zuxian formation switch from offense to defense, and use the 4 Zuxian swords that were transformed by the power of law to protect himself. But at this moment, Tongshen has shown its defeat. He alone can fight against Wu Shen, although Ji Yin can be delayed with powerful formations. If the stalemate lasts for a long time, he will only die. Big brother, can you help me out? Tongshen noticed that Wu Shen was rapidly destroying the formation, and his heart sank. He immediately used the communication talismans to ask me for help, but unexpectedly, these communication talismans fell into the sea, and there was no response at all. What happened? Did Tei take advantage of his serious injury to intercept and kill him? An ominous premonition suddenly appeared in Tongshen's heart, and he couldn't help but become anxious. But at this moment, he couldn't escape at all, and outside the formation, Wu Shen was like destroying the dead, frantically destroying the crumbling Zuxian formation, and he was about to succeed. But a command like thunder suddenly sounded in his ears. Stop it all! Not only Wu Shen, but also Lian Yin and Tongshen also heard the deafening sound transmission at the same time. This sound seemed to use the power of heaven. When it heard, even the soul would tremble. Who is it? The 3 of them were frightened at the same time, and hurriedly sent out a message to ask, but received no response. At the same time, Wu Shen suddenly noticed that there was a powerful and compelling aura approaching from the sky above his head, and he was shocked. Without caring about anything else, he suddenly pierced with the god-killing spear and shot out several powerful spear beams, tearing the sky apart. Snort! A disdainful voice sounded, and the next moment, these shooting gun lights disappeared in an instant without leaving any trace. Who? Wu Shen was shocked. He was able to neutralize his attack so easily before he even showed up. Wu Shen, do you dare to ignore my words? At this moment, a brilliant light flashed in the sky, and Wu Shen suddenly saw that in this light, Shen Long appeared. At this moment, shock and panic were like a huge palm, suddenly grabbing Wu Shen's heart. Wu Shen quickly backed away from Shen Long, and at the same time prepared for a life-and-death fight. Could it be that Shen Long took advantage of the frustration in the fight between the 3 saints and came to reap the benefits? Do you and the other 3 really intend to completely destroy the Great Desolation and make the entire world cease to exist? Shen Long glanced at Wu Shen lightly, then suddenly struck out with a palm, and a vast and huge power exploded, bombarding the Zuxian formation. This blow caused the crumbling Zuxian formation to completely collapse, and it was completely destroyed. The earth and life that were constantly being destroyed by the array were finally freed. The ancient land was finally no longer destroyed, and the way of heaven used the power of nature to gradually repair the destroyed ancient continent that was riddled with holes. But the repair speed was extremely fast. Slowly, I'm afraid it will take at least 2,000,000 years to recover as before. Not good. Tongshen noticed that his formation was suddenly destroyed, and thought it was Wu Shen's doing. He gathered the last remaining power in the formation and inspired the 4 phantom swords to kill, destroy. Shen Long pointed his hand, and the power of the law of destruction suddenly broke out, crushing the phantom of the fairy sword in an instant. Boom! The phantom of the fairy sword was destroyed, and Tongshen was horrified. But then he discovered that the huge aura turned out to be Shen Long. Fellow Taoist Zhu Long, why did you come to intervene? Lian Yin didn't expect it, and he immediately became vigilant. Like Wu Tian, he was also worried that Shen Long was here to reap the benefits. But at this time, I, who was observing all this in secret, saw Shen Long coming forward, suddenly very angry. It really wasn't the right time to show up. If these three idiots are allowed to fight, the ancient world will be destroyed. It's a pity that this ancestral dragon is in the way. The fierce light in my eyes flashed, and the plan in my heart was once again considered. How to change it. How long you will fight between you and how it will turn out has nothing to do with me. But do you know that this ancient world is about to be destroyed by the three of you? Do you want to see the prehistoric era completely destroyed? Shen Long looked down at the three people and asked coldly. Wu Shen's eyes flickered and he said in a deep voice, "Fellow Taoist Zhu Long, this matter has nothing to do with you. Please don't interfere." Ji Yin also said, "This is just the grudge between Pindao and Tongshan. I didn't want to involve all things in the world. Has nothing to do with this emperor. The prehistoric era is destroyed. The foundation of our dragon clan will no longer exist, and you saints who were born in the prehistoric era will also become routless duckweeds. How do you say that they have nothing to do with this emperor?" Shen Long seemed to have heard some big joke. "Fellow Taoist Zhu Long, I just made a mistake in attacking you. Please forgive me. That was not my intention. But my brother was seriously injured in a sneak attack by these two people. I can't swallow this bad breath. This time, even if we can't kill these two people, we must make them pay the price. Otherwise I really think that there is no one in my Xuanmen." The extremely temperamental Tongshan snorted coldly, looking at Wu Shen Huiying's eyes with murderous intent bursting out. The atmosphere became tense again, and all three of them were willing to give in. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 224. Tongshan, what's going on? Don't you really want to kill all the saints and dominate the ancient world? A meaningful smile appeared on the corner of Shen Long's mouth and he asked fellow Taoist Zhu Long, "This is not the case. It's just that Ji Yin and others went too far to deceive others." Tongshan looked grim and told the story of the attack on me from beginning to end. "Tongshan, you're not done yet, are you? If you want to start a dispute, just say so. Why always use me as an excuse? Since you last killed Yuan Shai, Pindao has never seen him again." Ji Yin heard this and immediately asked with murderous intent, "Stop talking nonsense. I was beaten just now. Wait until I am destroyed. Then you can talk." "It's not necessarily who will destroy whom." Tongshan and Ji Yin were on the verge of breaking out, and they even used their magic weapons to fight. "Stop!" Shen Long frowned and suddenly shouted loudly, and used the power of heaven in it. In an instant, this sound wave was like ripples on the water, spreading to the vast world, making everyone who heard it shake their spirits. Tongshan, although Ji Yin is a saint of the 9 heavens, the strength of their spirit concentration is completely different from that of Shen Long, and they are unable to defend against his heavenly power. Suddenly, the two spirits were in chaos, and they were forced to retreat and stay away, disperse. When Wu Shen saw this scene, he couldn't help but feel horrified. Shen Long hadn't taken action yet, but he could force these two people away just by relying on the pressure of heaven. I really don't know how many tricks Shen Long had hidden, although the two were forced apart, but obviously they didn't want to settle their grudges easily. "Fellow Taoist Zhu Long, please don't interfere. This is our own grudge and we must resolve it." Wu Shen didn't want to see this war end here. Tongshan used all his methods. If he and Ji Yin worked together again, they would definitely be able to kill him. "Wu Shen, do you think this emperor can't see your thoughts?" Shen Long glanced at Wu Shen lightly and asked. Wu Shen's evil intention towards Sanqing has long been known to everyone in the ancient world. No one wants to destroy Xuanmen and spread the devil's way more than him. This a great opportunity is right in front of him. How could he let it go so easily? Fellow Taoist Zhu Long is wrong. It is normal for ethnic groups and powerful people to fight in the ancient times. Throughout the ages, countless races or powerful people have been destroyed. Not even the law of heaven has intervened. Now that they are just having a grudge dispute, You have to forcefully obstruct them. Isn't this inappropriate? Wu Shen still said plausibly, and his righteous look almost made people think that he was thinking about Tongshan and Jiyan. Ridiculous statement. The saint was born in the ancient times and grew up in the ancient times. The most important thing is to maintain the balance of the ancient times, rather than disrupt the order and destroy the ancient times. No matter how life and death the two of them fight, I have no interest in intervening, but if I want to drag all the dragons in the wilderness to perish together, how can I just sit back and watch? Shen Long's eyes were full of sarcasm, and what he said immediately left Wu Shen speechless. Dear Taoist friends, the saint is the most respected person in history. What he does not need anyone's permission, let alone anyone's permission. Tongshan destroyed most of your Mount Sumeru and almost shattered the foundation of your Western religion. This anger cannot be tolerated. Wu Shen, who had no choice but to do anything, simply looked at Jiyan aside, openly instigating him. Jiyan, whose anger had not subsided, looked at Wu Tian with some hesitation. He didn't want to give up this opportunity to kill Tong Tian, but it was just him. If someone takes action, it may be difficult for him to be Shen Long's opponent. There is no doubt that Shen Long's cultivation is powerful. If he fights alone, he will not have any thoughts of fighting with him. Wu Shen and Jiyan looked at the sky at the same time, and they both coincided with each other. They thought, if Tongshan could also join the battle and besiege Shen Long, then they would be much more confident. But Tongshan had another plan in his mind. If these two idiots who don't know whether to live or die really take action against Zhu Long, then I will join forces with Zhu Long to fight against each other. Wouldn't it be easy to kill these two people? These three saints all have their own agendas, and there is almost no possibility of reaching an agreement. Shen Long is not afraid of the three of them joining forces, but if there is this breakthrough point between them, why doesn't he take advantage of it? Tongshan, are you sure you can handle Jiyan and Wu Tian alone? Shen Long asked meaningfully. Tongshan was not a fool. Naturally, he immediately understood what Shen Long meant. He didn't say another word, but stepped back directly, saying that he had no intention of joining Jiyan and Wu Tian. Pity. Jiyan and Wu Tian immediately sighed, feeling helpless in their hearts. With such a great opportunity, they could only let it go. Although Tong Tian seemed to have escaped, he was still quite unhappy in his heart. What happened to me? He still haven't gotten an explanation, so we can only end it here. Sure enough, only Ancestral Dragon can coordinate and calm down the disputes between saints. The prehistoric period was spared. If these three are allowed to continue fighting, the prehistoric world will surely be destroyed. Countless creatures in the prehistoric world still have lingering fears. The shadow this battle has brought to them is too profound. The entire West was almost devastated and desolate, and most of the East was also affected. It is unknown how many creatures perished in it. Just when everyone thought this earth-shattering war was about to end, there was one person who was extremely unhappy. It was finally time to close the net, but in the end it ended up like this. This ancestral dragon was really superfluous. I, who was secretly observing all this, was furious. He absolutely did not want to see this war end. At least his goal was far from being achieved. Thinking of this, I no longer concealed my aura and appeared in the world immediately. What happened? Just when it was about to end, everyone suddenly realized that there was another saint soarer coming from outside the sky. Shen Long was wondering, is there another saint who wants to take a trip into this muddy water? Tongshan, how can my Xuanmen be inferior to others? I am here to help you, brother. A voice resounded through the sky, and the next moment, I came. Brother. Tongshan was startled for a moment, and then his face was full of ecstasy. He was still worried that I didn't respond to him because he was attacked by Tei, but now I have obviously recovered and all the serious injuries on my body have recovered. Tongshan, Brother Wei is recovering just now, so he didn't respond to your summons. Now you don't need to worry about Brother Wei. I looked calm and relaxed, not as embarrassed as before. So good. Tongshan felt calm, and the anger in his heart finally calmed down a lot. I'm here too? Wu Shen was wondering, since I wanted to take action, why didn't I join the battle when Tongshan was beaten so hard that he couldn't fight back? Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 225. Tongshan, you said that Pine Dao attacked me and seriously injured him, but now that I have appeared in person, Pine Dao wants to ask if this is true. He pointed at me and asked Tongshan coldly, Ji Yin, you and Wu Tian are plotting against Pine Dao. Do you plan to keep pretending to be stupid? I said in a stern tone, as if this matter didn't just happen out of thin air. Bloody mouth. At this moment, even Wu Shen became furious. Even though he did have the intention of killing me, how could he tolerate being accused of such a big blame out of thin air? Shen Long never spoke. At the same time that I appeared, at this moment, Shen Long immediately used the Eye of Truth to see through everything. Although I could hide all the details of this father from other saints, I was so clumsy in front of Shen Long. But Shen Long did not expose it, but was very interested. Keep waiting and watching. He wanted to see what this I wanted. Now you still want to pretend to be innocent. What I suffered before must be returned to you in full now, otherwise I would really think that there is no one in my Xuanmen. I reprimanded sternly. My momentum suddenly surged, and I looked like I was ready to go. Snort. Surrender or die. Tongshan naturally cannot sit idly by and ignore it. He also explodes his aura and is ready for a life-and-death battle. I really thought that I could do whatever I wanted, but I couldn't achieve anything. How could Wu Shen and Ji Yin be able to endure such a provocation? They also showed no signs of weakness at the moment. The battle that had finally calmed down was about to break out again, and this time, the creatures in the prehistoric world were even more trembling. Those are 4 saints. The damage they will do to the ancient world will be even greater than they expected. Have you forgotten what the emperor said? You can fight if you want, but don't let the prehistoric world be destroyed. Shen Long said coldly. The majesty in his words is self-evident. Fellow Taoist Zhu Long, I don't think so. Wu Tian looked at Shen Long with ill intentions, and at the same time, I also looked at Shen Long with cowardice eyes. Wu Tian could see that I was obviously thinking of a big fight. If he could pull Tong Tian together to besiege Shen Long, no matter how strong he was, he would have no chance of winning against 4. It seems that your ambitions are not small. Even though I and Wu Tian locked their auras at the same time, Shen Long's expression remained indifferent, as if he didn't take them both seriously at all. Please do not interfere in this matter, fellow Taoist Zhu Long. Xuanmen matters do not need to be mediated by outsiders, I said aggressively, and the provocative meaning in his words is self-evident. He is not admonishing Shen Long, no matter how it sounds like he is inciting Shen Long to go to war with them. I don't care whether this is a matter within or outside your sect. If you still insist on having a big fight, you will definitely regret it. Shen Long's tone was gentle, but his words were full of chilling and domineering. In the face of 4 saints, he still dared to say such words. Shen Long was the only one in the world. Well, I laughed angrily, and then looked at Wu Shen aside. Put our affairs aside for the time being, and let's talk about it after the obstacles have been calmed down. This is exactly what I mean. A trace of coldness flashed in Wu Shen's eyes. He couldn't have wished for me to have such a plan. At this moment, the auras of the 3 saints Ji Yin, Wu Shen, and Lazy suddenly burst out, and they made a gesture of fighting to the death. But only Tongshan, because of his disgust towards Ji Yin and Wu Shen, he simply could not accept fighting side by side with them to fight against Shen Long. You will regret it. Facing this posture, Shen Long said these words calmly, but Wu Shen and Ji Yin could not listen at this time. They thought that they had such a huge advantage and they would win without a doubt. Brother, do you want to think about it again? The real enemies we have to face are Ji Yin and Wu Shen. Tongshan persuaded with some hesitation. Shut up. Zhu Long treats us with such contempt and contempt. How can you tolerate this bad breath? We, Sanqing, are the incarnations of Panyu, and Panyu's majesty in the ancient world is inviolable. There is no doubt that even if we fight to the death today, We must not insult Pang's majesty. I actually glared at Tongshan and scolded him harshly. As soon as these words came out, Tongshan was immediately horrified. This was totally unlike what I could say. Brother, what are you talking about? Tongshan looked at me in disbelief, as if he didn't recognize the person in front of him. How? Now you can't even listen to what I say? I frowned and said sternly, just obey my orders, etc. Brother, you have always been good at calculating and never act recklessly. Tongshan couldn't help but take a step back. At this time, his eyes were full of surprise when he looked at me. After Tongshan said this, Jian and Wushan also felt bad. Only then did they realize that I am actually a little abnormal now. Tongshan, what do you mean by this? I felt something bad in my heart, so I asked back with a stern look and an angry heart. Tao and Dharma are unified and do not deviate from their origins. All things change, so the Tao is here. Nature nourishes all things without taking them away. The destruction of all things feeds back to heaven. This is the Tao. Tongshan suddenly spoke some obscure Taoist secrets. Everyone was confused and had no idea what Tongshan was doing. Presumptuous. Tongshan, now you dare to question me? It's impossible for me to understand clearly, but I still pretend to be the elder brother and scold Tongtian. You are not my elder brother. We have all been deceived by you. At this moment, Tongshan Banner suddenly woke up. The edge of the Kingping sword in his hand turned, and he pointed it at me without hesitation. Call out. Countless sword shadows suddenly flew over, heading straight for me. But I seemed to have expected it. I formed a hand seal with one hand in the air, and a violent magic power burst out from the hand seal, instantly shattering those sword shadows. As soon as he made a move like this, no need to say more, almost everyone could see that I am not the real person at all. The magic seal condenses and the karma is exposed. He stepped back continuously and looked at me in disbelief. This is the method of the Chaos Demon God. Who are you? How dare Wushan regard him as a teammate fighting side by side at this time? He hurriedly backed up and pointed at me with the god-killing spear. TSK. It's a pity that if it weren't for the ancestral dragon's repeated obstructions, I wouldn't be able to keep pretending. I sighed a little, and then my body shape suddenly changed, transforming into the appearance of the thousand-faced demon god. Thousand-faced demon. Interesting. Shen Long stared at the thousand-faced demon god in front of him and asked calmly, it seems that the remaining demon gods in the chaos have harbored ill will towards Sanhuang. Did they ask you to be cannon fodder? Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Chapter 226. Cannon fodder, hahaha. If I hadn't accidentally appeared, who among you fools would have known my identity? I'm afraid that until the destruction of the ancient world, you still don't know who planned it. The thousand-faced demon god laughed loudly as if he had heard some big joke. Do you really think those clumsy deception methods are effective? How naive. Shen Long said no more, and just activated the Eye of Truth, and his pupils instantly changed from black to golden. At this moment, the thousand-faced demon god once again noticed the fear of being completely seen from the inside out. It's you? The face of the thousand-faced demon god, which was still triumphant just now, instantly turned cold and gloomy. It turns out that the feeling of being seen through everything he felt before came from Shen Long. From the beginning to the end, Shen Long had already put the identity was revealed, but it was never exposed, and you enjoyed his poor performance as if you were watching a play. The thousand-faced demon is best at disguise and deception, which is also his biggest reliance. No one has ever been able to see through his disguise. But now in front of Shen Long, his biggest reliance was easily broken. How could this not make him feel fear? How did you do it? In the wild, no one can see through my disguise. The thousand-faced demon god gritted his teeth and asked sternly, but Shen Long didn't give him any response. He just looked at Wu Tian, who looked shocked. Wushan, do you still want to join forces with him? Wushan's expression was gloomy. If Shen Long hadn't pointed it out, they would have all been toyed with by the thousand-faced demon god. The chaos demon god all wanted to destroy the great desolate world. No matter how crazy Wushan was, He would never join forces with the Chaos Demon God. Being poor almost led to a big mistake. Ji Yin was even more frightened. If he hadn't been seen through, who knew what methods the thousand-faced demon god would use to plot against them? Why are you pretending to be my elder brother? Where is he now? Tongshan immediately understood that the so-called invitation and others to besiege me was just a scam by the thousand-faced demon god, with the intention of provoking internal fighting among the saints of the ancient world and causing the collapse of the ancient world. The most worrying thing at this time is my safety. With the Kingping sword point at the thousand-faced demon god and ask, I am afraid that I have died in the chaos at this time. If the night and the illusion show mercy, they may be able to take his broken corpse back to the primitive world. Haha. But by then, you ants will all perish, and no one will be left. The expression of the thousand-faced demon god suddenly became extremely ferocious, and a chaotic demonic energy suddenly erupted, sweeping across the wilderness. The power of the chaos demonic god was beyond the imagination of the creatures in the ancient world. In an instant, everything was frightened and trembling under this aura. This is different from the coercive aura of the saint, which is purely suppressed by endless fear, preventing them from raising any intention of confrontation. This is the power of the chaos demon god, not only reflected in his cultivation and strength. As the head of the Sanqing dynasty, how could my eldest brother fall into your hands? Tongshan was furious, not only because he was deceived, but also because he was confused by his concern for me. He waved his hand, and the purple electric hammer was suddenly thrown out, turning into a purple lightning and hitting the thousand-faced demon god on the head. Don't overestimate your capabilities. The demonic seal in the hands of the thousand-faced demon god loomed, turning into a demonic claw that covered the sky and struck it fiercely, blasting the incomparably powerful purple electric hammer and flying backwards. Not only that, the demonic claw struck Tongshan again, just with one blow. Even though he was protected by the body-protecting Gangqi, Tongshan was still bombarded and flew backwards, leaving an abyss on the ground. Pull the soul. A dark chain suddenly appeared in the hands of the thousand-faced demon god, and at the other end of the chain was a sharp blade flashing with cold light, which made people frightened when they saw it. Soul pulling. It was the thousand-faced demon god in the middle of chaos. The power of the spiritual treasure forged in it can even be compared with that of the innate treasure. The sharp blade on the tip of the soul guide can break the protective aura of all saints, and no saint's body can withstand a single blow. The next step will definitely pierce his true body. What's even more terrifying is that once his true body is pierced by the soul puller, his soul will be blocked and pulled by it, and he will be unable to perform any Taoism. Even his soul will be blocked. Pull it out of his true body. Once a saint is hit by it, he will be seriously injured, or his soul will be torn to pieces, come to death. The soul puller came out of his hand, and the dark chain cut through the sky and reached towards Tongshan, who was knocked away, intending to kill him with one blow. Tongshan was horrified, and quickly used the innate spiritual treasure swallowing spirit tower to protect himself, intending to block this attack hit. Boom. In an instant, the spirit-devouring tower was penetrated by the soul puller. The terrifying power caused by the destruction of the spirit treasure exploded. Tongshan was also affected by the residual power and was seriously injured in an instant. At this time, Ji Yin took the opportunity to use Kidu the Star Rosary attacks the thousand-faced demon god behind his back. Although Ji Yin deeply hates Kuishan, he also knows the truth of death and coldness. If the Chaos Demon God succeeds, he will be the next person to be killed. You are a fool, you saints from ancient times, but your actions are not above board at all. The thousand-faced demon god didn't even look at Ji Yin, he just shot a magic seal in the air. Boom. Suddenly, the space around Ji Yin collapsed and shattered like glass. Magical power came from the cracks in the broken space, controlling Ji Yin tightly. Ji Yin was shocked and quickly activated the seven-star rosary. Bombarding these magic powers has no effect at all. Since you're anxious to die, it might as well kill you first. The thousand-faced demon god laughed loudly, and just as he was about to stab Ji Yin with the soul-drawing yin in his hand, the shimmering blade went straight towards Ji Yin's head. At this critical moment, Wuxian could no longer sit idly by and watch. Immediately take action with Yu Yin to resolve the demonic energy that trapped him. Buddha dust, disease. Ji Yin quickly escaped and teleported, leaving only a burst of rolling golden Buddha dust in place, and left the place in an instant. Boom! The soul-pulling Yin pierced the rolling Buddha dust, but Ji Yin had already escaped. In this fight, the three saints seemed not to have been succeeded by the thousand-faced demon god, but the latter's power had already made the three saints desperate. They can't hurt the thousand-mile demon god at all, but if one is accidentally hit by the thousand-faced demon god, there is a risk of death on the spot. What is the way of a saint? You fools have been completely misled by Hong Jun's old fool. You actually think that saints are the road to success. It's ridiculous that you put so much effort into it. If I had known that saints like you were so weak, why would I have gone to all the trouble to pretend? It would be just as satisfying to kill them directly and make them bleed like rivers. The thousand-faced demon god looked at the three people with disdain and sneered. Please subscribe in full. The average author starts from 20,000 words per day. I hope you all can support me. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.